Hi, Dylan Dunn from Tiffin, Ohio, fighting out of fly kickbox and fighting for my grandfather. Support your fighters, make a difference, and donate today. Come watch us fight, June 14th at Mission Ballroom.
And Louis Riccardi chat is right. Let's go. We are here for Valencia. My name is Adam Thursby. Joining me again, Mr. Phil Milby. And via audio, we have Matt with us this week. Gentlemen, how are you? Are we ready for this?
I'm ready.
You ready?
For sure. I'm looking forward to this.
First time running Valencia, right? New DLC. So obviously the driver's not going to have the same amount of experience here that they have on other circuits throughout our season. So and you'll notice it's a little damp. It's a little damp
moist.
at Valencia. It's moist. Yes, moist. That's the word we're looking for. So what are you guys looking for at Valencia today? Phil, we talked a little bit about it last week with some track limit things, and I watched it. I haven't driven here at all yet. I just haven't sat down to do so. And I gotta say, watching a few track guides, that you can use a lot of track here, but they all warn to the same thing, like, do not go any further than this or you are done. You will invalidate that lap.
Yeah, invalidating. I think quality is going to be the area where track limits is going to be the biggest. It's going to be the biggest thing for people to try and figure out, to try and crack the code about, because the thing is that with it being a wet race, like, getting track warnings for time is probably going to be, like, getting official track cuts is probably going to be challenging, because it's going to be based on your fastest. It bases it on your delta when you go off, on whether or not you're gaining time.
Okay.
So in a wet scenario, that's really hard for that scenario to. It's hard for you to go off track and not lose a significant amount of time, especially in wet conditions. So
Gotcha.
I suspect we won't see too many DTs. I mean, if the track cut is just straight up egregious, like if you're going into turn 9 and you just decide to straight line it between turn 8 and turn 10, you probably get like a penalty for that one.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's going to be. I think quality is going to be the area where track limits is going to be the biggest problem.
All right. What do you think, Matt? Have you driven this yet? Or no?
I have not driven it. I'm just
Xbox,
getting a look at it. Well, I'm on PC as well. I have not driven much since 1.9 came out, and I haven't driven any laps on this track. But just looking at the track map, it seems to have that Spanish flavor to it. It reminds me of Barcelona a bit in some of the corners, like just the shapes of them and kind of how things seem like they flow. Just watching a little bit here are we in qualifying yet? Nope. So it's still the end of practice. So just it seems like it's a nice wide track. It looks fairly freshly paved from the graphics of it. That could be the rain playing into the darkening of the asphalt, but it looks like it's a pretty fun track to drive.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the door-to-door battles. It looks wide enough for people to go too wide through most of the corners. So.
And qualifying is getting ready to kick off here. Let's talk a little bit about it. Let's jump over to AM just to catch up on what's happened so far in the first 3 rounds. Leading out the M class, Bruce Hopkins has taken first in all 3 races to this point. Really just dominating in that 296, that number 60 car. Michael Zwanenberg in second, and Chris Finlay in third, with John Rulin and Jester Floomp rounding out the top 5. You got to say, though, the top 4 drivers, even with those 3 first-place finishes, Hopkins does not have the season locked, right? 152 points, Zwanenberg with 146, Finlay at 140, and John Rulin in fourth with 132. Not as tight as some of the other classes, but still, it's anybody's game in AM so far going into round 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think the big thing here is going to be it's all about consistency, finishing races and trying to maximize your points total right now. We've seen, with the tightness of this field right now, there's a lot of people that are still in it. So I think consistency is going to be the big deal, because we've seen some really good competitors have some pretty low point scoring hauls just based on track incidents or other things coming up during a race. So it's really going to be about keeping your nose clean for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Speaking of points and where we go with that Pro-Am, Ivan Zolotarov is leading with 147 points. Steven Tomzik at 139. And as I said, the things seem to get tighter as we go up through the classes, and we'll obviously talk about Pro and Silver when we get to that race. Bob Charlton in third with 137. Adam Willey sits in fourth with 133, and Steven Music and Edward Walsh are tied for fifth with 132.
Looks like we might have a server issue potentially.
Yeah, I see that. A little bit of night racing.
Switch to night.
Let's go. They can run it for nighttime.
Lewis is like, Blue, what have you messed up now?
Yep.
Temperatures are still in the 27, but it's certainly dark.
Yeah, there goes the server, so we're down. All right, cool. But that's a quick fix, and then we're back online and ready to go. So that's good. One thing I did want to, you were talking about the track layout, and I did want to give a shout out to Mr. Revis, Josh Butler, who posted in the season 6 chat his notes for track limits at Valencia, and he's got a lot of detail in here. So if anybody is looking for a little bit of an edge, maybe it might be a little too late for the Pro-Am people to pull up the track limits map and study it, maybe in between waiting for their quality to like pull up. But for the Pro and Silver guys, I would have this thing like committed to memory as best I can before I get out on track. So
I think we are back up in free practice, starting up with 10 minutes now. There were now 3 servers available, so I'm not sure. I hope I came to the right one.
Blue says he's moving it to quali now. So
Roger that.
So I'm gonna jump in behind you. And,
all right, we are connected. Gotta love the technical stuff, right?
To be fair to anybody who's ever managed leagues or managed servers before, they don't really give you a lot of tools to manage this in a way that isn't like derpy. It's just the nature of it. It's so bizarre. I don't quite get it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So as we wait, the session's going to move forward here, and it went to nighttime again for quali.
I wonder if there is something up.
We will dump back
out.
out.
The wrong one? I am in the wrong one.
Crazy.
Yeah. It has been weird. I mean, here's the thing. For me today, ACC has been a touch strange.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen, I've got one PC, like I was telling you guys before the show started, 2 PCs on the same ISP, both running ACC. One can see the Box3 servers. The other just can't.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I've restarted, verified files, the whole 9 yards. Like it just ain't.
But it can find other servers, just not the Box3.
It can find other servers. It just can't. It can find the one Box3 server for driver swap.
Okay.
Go figure.
I'm just waiting. I had dumped back out of the server here. We're just waiting. I'm waiting to see for somebody to make an announcement.
I'm keeping my eyes peeled for that as well.
Yeah. I just can't. I can't look it up on Discord on my PC because I'll take away Phil's beautiful face.
I have that available. Blue is typing.
Mean, it would be damaging to everyone's corneas to get like a good shot of my mug.
Oh, just some announcements, folks. While we're waiting here for things to come back up, keep in mind that we are not here next week. It is Father's Day in the United States. We're taking the week off. There will be no race next week. As such, we're also going to skip Recovery Drive this coming Thursday. It will come back next Thursday. We'll talk about Valencia and some of the other races coming up in the season. And I forget what's next, but we can talk about that later. But yeah, there will be no race next week. So just be ready for that and expect us to not be around. I know you're probably going to miss us, but we'll be back. That's right. We come back to Imola, an endurance race on the 25th of June at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
There will be an Xbox race next week. However, we will not have a broadcast for it. But anybody willing to race next week on Xbox, feel free and sign up for that multi-class race. The grid's filling up fairly quickly. I'm pretty impressed with how the That's the expected participation so far at this point.
Good.
That's fantastic.
No,
we got 8
that league is just
GT3 out of the
stacked.
15.
Oh
and
man,
then 7 out of the 15. So we're about halfway full on both classes for GT3 and GT4.
All right.
looks like we made it.
Looks like we are back in. We will
On
get
my
things.
MTV. Man, I have not heard that phrase in a beat. I want my MTV. Wow.
We don't.
Mhm.
You don't listen to the good music then. I mean, that's just, you know.
Well, no. I'm just saying. When's the last time you've heard anybody like do the old ad broadcast for "I Want My MTV"?
Well, yeah, no,
Like,
never.
it's been 2 decades, man. We're ancient.
You're only as old as
Do you
you
remember
feel,
coming home to
Phil.
watch Total Request Live after school?
If that's the case, if you're only as old as you feel, then let me tell you, I'm the oldest man on the planet.
I beg to differ. I went to my kids' karate class and joined in yesterday, and that's the most work I've done since boot camp. So
Oh, wow.
I'm feeling like I could top you in the feelings department today.
Wow,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Getting old's rough.
Yeah.
Let it be
Yes.
known, audience, that's the secret to life. Don't get old.
At
Just
first
stop.
gray hair, you just turn around and run the other way.
Yeah.
Now, here's an interesting turn of events. Frank Reynolds, the Warthog himself, has returned, but he's out on track. Here's, I know Mr. Reynolds has a qualification ban. We are in qualifying right now with about 18 and a half minutes left to go. So we will switch over to the full race at this time. Get everything up and running for you folks at home as the
Man,
AM drivers start setting times for today's race.
I
at Valencia.
am. I'm super excited about Valencia. I'm so glad that Kunos is still bringing us good quality content. I think qualifying around here is going to be crazy. We've already got a Ferrari off at the last corner.
Caught Zwanenberg
and,
just in time there. That was perfect.
It's going to be crazy. It is going to be nuts out here. And we also have quite a bit of AM drivers in this week. We were a little short last week, but the numbers are back up, and I'm glad to see more people on track with us for this race. Yeah.
And I'm taking a look here. I do not see, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, I do not see Bruce Hopkins on the list.
I don't see Bruce
So-
Hopkins here either.
Zwanenberg is out. Finlay, Chris Finlay's on track. So 2 drivers right there, and even
Was
Rulin's
Hopkins
on
there
track.
earlier though, before the resets?
I'm not sure.
I'm not
I
sure.
saw his name, but maybe
I don't remember
maybe
seeing
it's just because we were talking about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that gives certainly gives what was I saying? Zwanenberg, Rulin, and Finlay an opportunity to jump to the head of the leaderboards after today's race for this season.
Yep. It is definitely one of those series where it does make a difference to be here as often as you can. I'm going to take a look at Valencia right now, and in the admin section, it does look like Bruce Hopkins is a withdrawal for this race.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you do have Austin Phelps and Bruce Hopkins out in the AM category, Steven Tomazik, Daniel Versosa, and Mike Patrick out in the Pro-Am. Man, also we got some big names out in the Pro and Silver category. We got John Jixer, Timothy Glendenning, Matt Damon's out for this week, so that's going to give the Pro class an opportunity to maybe catch up to.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row from Matt Damon as well. Is that right?
Yeah, they were gone last week too.
That right there could definitely make Pro category a little bit spicy. But I mean, Anthony Anderson, 145. Tom Foose was 143, and Charlie Booth's 134. So it's pretty tight. Pretty tight.
And they get spicy for the rest of season 6, I think.
I love it. John Rulin in that Lambo Evo 2, man after my own heart. Just such a good car around here too. So planted.
I know you had mentioned Zwanenberg as being one of the benefactors to Bruce Hopkins not being here, currently sitting on the pole position for the AM class.
Yeah.
Like almost a second.
Zwanenberg way up there for this so far, and right now running about 9/10 over his previous fastest lap, and maybe going to get a chance to nudge that up a little bit. And that number 296. Ferrari.
He could be getting some benefit from getting his tires maybe more in the window a little bit. It's difficult to get wet tires in the window in ACC during rain conditions, because rain conditions is kind of like one of those things where like the pro level drivers and the aliens and stuff like that, they kind of just get like locked into where the grip is pretty much like right off the bat. Meanwhile, if you can't really push the car and you can't get temperatures in the wets, it can be a struggle. You could be driving around on cold rubber for a long time. So I'm just interested to see if Zwanenberg's times are going to continue to go down.
Well, he now needs to catch David Collins, who just opened, and he about did. He's only a 10th off now with that newest lap, but Collins breaking it down to a 141.6 very quickly. And hi, Steve. Welcome in, sir. Hope you're having a great weekend. You're here for the action at the wet, moist, or as Phil would say, the moist action at Valencia today.
It's spongy around here. The Dave Collins in the AMG now in 1.9 I believe we're at the 1.9.4 iteration of the patch right now. AMG getting the global power buff in ACC. Kind of wondering if a little bit of the bounce performance is starting to play in to Dave Collins' hands a little bit. Zwanenberg, there was a global nerf for the Ferrari, but at the same time, the power of the Ferrari wasn't its strong suit. It was its ability to corner quickly. So interesting to see Zwanenberg, but Zwanenberg, we know Zwanenberg's fast. Yeah. So I'm not shocked at all to see him really close to the AMG, even if it does have a little bit of a power buff.
It's interesting though. David Collins currently on 11th in this season. A 13. I do not start off round one. Then who just now set another fastest lap. A 13th place finish in round 2, and round 3 a 6th place finish. So it looks like maybe David spent a good bit of time practicing here at Valencia.
Maybe that's what it is. I mean, I'm looking through Dave Collins's record in SimGrid, and this is a guy that's got 66 race starts, 24 top 10s, 8 top 5s, 2 podiums. Hasn't quite cracked a win yet in ACC, at least from SimGrid's records. But it's going to be interesting to see somebody who does seem to be able to get the AMG around here pretty quick.
Absolutely, they're the Bosworth out in one of 2 Lexuses. Is Pro Lexus? Is it Lexi? Do you say Lexi?
It is Lexus, and
Lexus.
Toyota will tell you it is Lexus.
Just still just Lexus.
It's still just Lexus. I've got 1 Lexus, or I've got 2 Lexus. It's Lexus.
Toyota's not in charge of me, so I'm going to say Lexi just for fun.
Hey, you should. Here's the thing, man. They can't stop you. You're ungovernable in this situation.
That's right.
Ungovernable.
Absolutely. Toyota's not having the best day of their last year, so they're not worried about how we pronounce their subsidiary brand on stream.
Wow, Collins again showing purple right now, about 2/10 up over that fastest. He's really trying to break down to the 140s in there somehow.
Finlay is not that far off Zwanenberg either. What is that? 3/10? About 3/10 off.
Yeah, about 3/10. And
then John Rulin in the lone Lambo. About 3/10 back. So I feel like we're going to see the field spread out pretty. The pace differential across the field is going to be pretty broad this week. But single lap pace alone in a wet race, kind of irrelevant. Can you keep it out of the wall?
Can I keep it? Which, to be fair, I mean, looking at Valencia, looking at this track, keeping it out of the wall should be relatively easy. There is a ton of runoff around this entire circuit. So I don't see. Hopefully we don't have too many incidents. What we've learned over the last, say, we could say all 6 seasons, but specifically what I've noticed in the last 2 or 3 seasons is that when it's a rain race, people tend to calm down just a little bit. You know what I mean?
They have to.
They back it right
down. It still harkens to some really good racing. It's just everybody seems to have that little bit of extra in the back of their head of, hey, slippery when wet, so they take that caution. And I found the same even with Xbox. We had 2 rain races this year, and one of them was a endurance race at Monza, and every car finished that started. So
awesome!
Absolutely, I think the rain, it equalizes the drivers where the good drivers prevail. And also I think everybody just takes that extra bit of caution to make for some really good racing as well.
Yeah.
Chris Finlay it looks like he has scrubbed that lap. He was going to be catching up Zwanenberg. Had him by, I think he would have gotten ahead of him but before that scrub out. And now with the first 10 minutes gone, the Pro-Am drivers are going to start heading out onto the track. Let's talk about these guys a little bit, starting with Ivan Zolotarov back in the Porsche. Kenny O'Connor returns this week. Steven Music, as I said, tied up there in the standings. Corey Hampshire, we got to see run last week and is back with us again.
That'll give us a chance to see as well how the Mercedes is faring here, if it's a Mercedes favorable track.
Mm-hmm. Also, we got Robert Hepburn. Oh, what am I looking at?
Porsche. He's gonna be doing Robert Hepburn things. I mean,
Yes,
that guy just knows how to drive the Porsche. This is gonna actually be my first watching of a wet race with the 296 and the Evo 2.
Okay. Yep.
Well, actually, and the Porsche and the new Porsche. So I'm very interested to see, is there a particular model of car that is very strong in wet conditions?
Yeah. Well, I do believe we're going to find that out today for sure, especially with as wet as it is. I hope it stays this wet for the whole race, to be honest with you. Just to put these guys to a little bit of test. Although some of the hardest stuff is not when it's all full wet or when it's full dry, right? What happens?
Conditions and changing conditions.
What happens when we dry out 15 minutes into the race, right? What does that do to your pit strategy? What does that do to? I mean, obviously it shifts it. It has to, because now you've got to go change tires at some point. But we talked to Anderson about this during recovery drive on Thursday.
He was saying, run them till they're red.
Yeah, he runs them until they're about to explode off the side of the car, and then he will find his pit stop, right? So, that's why I kind of like those opportunities where people go in to have to make that change on the fly.
Yeah, it's one of the. It is one of those things that is a challenge. Trying to get the tires, be on the right tire at the right time can turn you from a hero to a zero pretty fast. So,
well, and also with changing conditions, it's going to be tough to get those target pressures as well, because the water level that remains on track, especially if you're having to make it through traffic and go dip into a puddle and cool those tires off, things like that. It's going to be tough to keep the dry tires, in those drying conditions to stay up in temperature.
Now, what about you guys? Phil, Matt, I'll start with you first. Where, let's say we get those mixed conditions today. Where do you look to make that change? Do you, like Anderson said, run them until they're red? Do you wait for a dry line? Where's your preferred decision-making point?
I think a mix of both. If the dry line starts to form, that's when you're going to start to see your wet tires start to balloon up a bit, and then you can kind of start to make the call. It really depends. It also helps to have the weather, the forecast up there, and see, all right, what's going to happen in 10 and 30 minutes from now. Mm-hmm. Will it start to rain again? Does it make sense to stay on the wets for now, or call it early, go in and get the dry and start picking up the pace early? I think if it's clearly drying, I personally want to get on the slicks as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Getting on the slicks as fast as possible is usually the right call. The thing that I'll do is I drive like a Muppet, so I'm mostly just trying to keep the car safe. So once the track starts to dry, if I'm in a team race or something, we're not necessarily ready for me to make a pit stop, I'm immediately going to start switching my lines, going into
find the cooling zones that you can. Absolutely,
and try and extend the use of that tire as much as possible. But yeah, I'm kind of with Maddie on this one. It kind of depends.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good. Well, we get opportunity today to see if that's going to happen with our drivers again here at Valencia. Very excited for today's race. First time we're running it as a league for an event since the release about a month or so ago. So the drivers not a lot of time to practice here. They've been practicing for the other races of the season, and so now they got to jump into a track that they really haven't spent a ton of time on. That's right. This isn't Spa or Brands or something that's been around for years. That even if you don't.
If you look at it from that aspect, so me personally as a driver, being very squarely in the amateur class, because I don't know this track, I'm going to put more time into it. Whereas a Spa or a Brands Hatch that I know fairly well, and I just need to go, brush up my technique. I can get up to pace a lot faster on one of those tracks that I know well, as opposed to a newer track or one I haven't driven much. I'm going to spend more time in practice on.
Okay. Bob Charlton showing purple up there right now. We'll see if he can get this lap done and take up pole
music
position.
not that far off.
Yeah, I see this. Oh, it's dropped out now, so Zolotarov, David Collins still up near the top. Edward Walsh getting into second with Tristan Jonendijk sitting on the pole right now. And there's Charlton now knocking Walsh back one with a 1:45.95. Just shy of Jonendijk's time.
Just missed out on Sector 3, and it looks like kind of a similar situation with Steven Music, where I think just inside Sector 3, everybody seems to be missing out. I wonder if that's a particularly tricky section with this with the weather conditions that we've got today.
Check in on your boy Blue. Probably 142.227. And just so I've said it, that is your boy Blue right there, who had to bounce the server twice for us to get it all fixed. So make sure you go let him know about it on the Discord. Zolotarov running ahead right now by about 4/10. Not giving up a purple for it, but that'll jump him up. Hope maybe to roll. Let's see, 41. Yeah, not quite going to get there. But Zolotarov now, all of a sudden, he has made up some time though.
Yeah,
and about 7 or 8 tenths up
right now.
Yeah.
It could be the case that he's looking at like 2 to 3 laps before the wets will be gripped up enough. And then, he's just able to extract a little bit more pace, although he's lost about 3/10 inside of what looks like Sector 2.
Oh, and he is just off this.
It was the entry to Sector 3 that got him.
Edward Walsh now jumping into pole. And Zolotarov crosses, with lost time. Was not able to pick that up.
But did improve his position, did leapfrog Charlton.
Yeah, and it's super tight. 65 thousandths between the top 3.
It is, it is pretty small margins. So kind of interested to see how this is all going to wind up, because definitely looks like it's going to be close towards the front end.
Keep seeing the purple outline on the tree there flicker in and out on people as these guys continue to push to see how fast they can go. David Collins doing well in AM class though, sitting in the pits right now, but currently 7th. I'm sorry, I jumped right over. Nope, that's who I wanted. And Michael Zwanenberg too. Those guys starting in class right next to each other in 7th and 8th so far.
Waiting to see what Corey Hampshire can do. He's looking at he's up about 1.3 on his previous lap, which is not going to challenge for pole, but it will definitely drag him out of the 13th position that he's sitting in right now. He wants to get closer to the front end of this situation so that he can be fighting with more of the people inside his category, because right now he's kind of towards the back half of the field.
Down to about a 9th at this point. Let's do this. There we go. Little delta out there again, 9/10 of a second up, and gets himself jumped to 8th with that run.
So improvements. Looks like the 2 AMGs are sandwiched together.
Zolotarov keeps flickering purple.
Yeah. Margins are really slim between him and Ed Walsh.
Walsh now flickering purple again. Yeah.
Hats off to Walsh. Punches in a good lap like that. Doesn't go back to the pits and wait to see what happens. Going to go out and try and extend as much as he can.
Open that gap up.
He's the only one in the entire league right now that's driving the McLaren, correct? The new McLaren?
I believe so. Yes.
But he started the season in the old one because he didn't release until round 2.
Yep.
Correct.
So it's maybe it's wise on him that waited around to find out what the running would be like in the new McLaren. Could have paid off. People do say it's a bit of car on rails, now.
Now, I know he was the
I
only
personally
he
like
was the only
old
car
McLaren. I
swap.
felt that way.
Go ahead.
I was just saying he was the only car swap of this season. There's no car swapping allowed through season 6. However, you can upgrade, right? So
Yeah.
he was allowed. If you're on the same platform, you're welcome to do that. But other than that, no car swaps this season.
Zolotarev looks like he might be getting ready to punch in. That corner exit was not bad.
He's got 3/10, and there it is. Zolotarev
And
with a
there
new
it is,
low,
yeah.
140.130.
Now, is anybody running the old Porsche still?
Just
I
zap,
think
probably
we
just
had-
zap.
In 911?
I think we had a couple of entries that were running not the oldest Porsche, but the older one, and we do have a 488 in the field right now.
Oh, okay.
Nick Paquin in 12th right now in the 47 car for Get Cow Racing. He's the lone 488 in the field. I did not get my pre-race report from team manager. You're my boy Blue. Find out what's the story. Tell me the travel drama of YCR and getting to Valencia.
Oh goodness, I can only imagine. We get ready.
He does
for the
have
race.
a pretty livery on that car now. They did put a YCR livery on that 488, and it does look good.
That rainbow Technicolor coming out of the back of the logo there is, I appreciate that one.
You talking about Blue?
No, I'm
No,
talking about
we're
the
looking at
YCR,
Paquin's car.
Yeah, Paquin's car. The 47.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Which
Gotcha.
looked like it just disappeared. Oh, there it is. Like, what? I'm confused. Vanished.
Let's see here. We'll see if our grid walk actually works this week. Didn't want to last week.
While you're doing that, pull up the qualifying times. Man, it is not like there's 3/10 between Zolotarev and Walsh. Zolotarev, I think, could be a threat this race. We know he's quick in the Porsche. We saw what he did at Laguna. Is the mixed conditions going to play to his favor? Can he hold back a little bit of pace in hand, keep the car, on the black stuff, and try and maximize his points lead here at Valencia? But 3/10 between him and Ed Walsh. Walsh and Jonadike, 0.02 of a second. That's it.
Wow.
You got a half second all the way down to P5, and then you got a second. It opens up pretty wide. It then goes from a little less than a half second to a little over 9/10, and then a bunch of people that are like within a second and a half round out the top 10.
There was that Yit Cow's livery of Nick Paquin, Chris Finlay, John Rulin, 14th in the number 318 car. Adam Willie with the Mountain Dew.
I'm liking this.
Alex Martin, the number 94 Lexus. EJ Stevens back in a Porsche. Josh Butler. I love that livery too, right there.
The Fanta livery
The
is
Fanta
great.
livery is fantastic. So is this one. The Bosworth has a fantastic livery on that Lexus. And the Warthog himself is back as we get ready here for the start of this race at Valencia. The first of two. We will be back for Pro and Silver class racing after this. And as you can see, it is a wet start. Now, obviously, I don't have the UI up. Phil, are we seeing a break in the rain in the next 30 minutes or no? Does this hold?
No, 30 minutes. Wet for 30 minutes.
Wet for 30.
It's going to be consistent rain for the next 30. I need to get myself a little tip jar whenever I miss the appropriate social cues where Molson's like, let's do the grid walk, and Phil just starts talking about a car at random. Like, okay.
Ah, you're good, man. All good. Everybody can see who's where. Ivan Zolotarev going to lead us off with Edward Walsh today up front.
Am I crazy, or is it raining harder than it was in quality?
It shows on the weather as being a heavier rain as well.
Yeah, it is a heavier rain, and it is going to be doing this consistently for 30 minutes. So I'm wondering how many people are running those same pressures that they ran for qualifying and are going to find themselves driving on ice cubes
Uh-huh.
in the
I
in
did
the
not
race.
know the temperature during qualifying, but it does look like the track's a bit warmer than it was earlier when we looked at it. It's at
34C
34C.
This is going to be something else.
And Chief, you want that on board? We will do that. We will do that once the race has started. We will go on board with Alex. I didn't figure you wanted to watch an onboard during the formation lap today.
It might be some of the cleanest racing we get before turn one. let's find out. I mean, that's the thing. Valencia, I really wonder how many people offline are going to outbreak themselves in these conditions. Valencia, very much similar to a Barcelona or to a Misano. You're going to have variable radius corners and like ridiculously large corner entry that then narrow down to like really narrow corner exits. So it's going to be interesting.
And as we see, Adam Willie in the chat says, force feedback stopped working. Got to start from the pit. So a pit start for Willie today. It's a shame. Frank Reynolds there.
Variable radius is too big of a word for me.
Yeah. Commentators curse enabled. You hear that, Phil? You're going to be responsible once again.
That's fine.
I know.
That's
we're
fine.
used to it at this point, right? Yep. Always our fault. Oh, you know what? I didn't update.
I can make it easy. I can make it really easy for Chief though. I mean, variable radius in the native speak of my homeland is the entry's different than the exit.
Funny.
One door's bigger than the other. So.
Our driver's now dropping into double file. Get ready for the start of this race at Valencia. And I gotta say, I'm kind of glad for the first race it's raining here. And I know some of the drivers probably gonna hate to hear me say that, but the fact is, as we're about to go green, that it slows things down. This is a pretty fast track in the drive, right? We're talking 130s.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a short lap.
Yeah, so slowing things down I don't think is necessarily a bad thing today. And we are green. Ivan Zolotarov getting a quick jump on Ed Walsh and holding on to it, but Bob Charlton with Tristan Jonendijk.
Oh, got a little bit of contact. 17 goes into, I believe that was the 425 or 428.
And let's go 3 wide here into turn 2.
Oh yeah, that'll end well.
Wow. Actually keeping it pretty clean. Again, like you said, a little contact, but I don't see anybody way off track here. We haven't caught any yellows yet. Everyone's still moving forward. Nick Paquin. Oh, and there we got a spin. Let's rewind that real quick and see if we can catch it. Yeah, Paquin in the Yitcows racing car. A little.
And he
boy.
touches the 318.
Yeah.
Oh, but Alex Martin staying frosty and putting on the boat anchor to keep from going into the 318 Lambo.
Speaking of Alex Martin, now in a battle with Rulin.
There are so many opportunities right now to get a good result just by keeping it clean. We've got a sideways Ferrari. Oh, and one of the AMGs. I think that was David Collins. Or no, I think that was Corey Hampshire.
Well, Tristan Jonendijk getting scooped up now back into P11. Bob Charlton and Jonendijk still following in position. What is going on? Did they not work on the cameras with this track or what? My goodness.
The cameras here are pretty snappy. It's just because it's a fast track. It's very harsh camera angles.
Uh-oh, Michael Zwanenberg dropping quick. Oh, I can't even keep up with him. Dropping quickly through the ranks.
I'll check on him.
Corey Hampshire heading into the pits already. So Ivan Zolotarov now leads this race, or continues to lead this race. Steven Music in second, David Collins third, with Robert Hepburn in fourth, and your boy Blue right now in fifth, but under pressure from Kenny O'Connor, Ed Walsh, and Bob Charlton. So Blue leading a merry chase around Valencia today.
I feel like the M4 is a really good platform in the wet, so I'm really hoping that Blue can show off a little bit of its potential. But I have not watched a race yet with the 296 in the wet, so I'm kind of interested to see what Kenny O'Connor can do as well.
I do like the fact that things have gotten tossed up a little bit at the front, and we're not seeing so much of the block of Ferraris and the block of Porsches. You know, AMG, McLaren.
That's a really good mix through the top 10 there.
Yeah, BMW all up there. So with things a little spread out, let's go ahead and go on board with Alex Martin as requested by Chief Blaze in the chat. The view in a rain race, you know, whenever you're in the cockpit, always amazes me how, I mean, it's got to be a struggle for these guys to see. And right here, we can see Alex just trying to hold on to get him through the corner, losing the back end a little. So a struggle for everybody today. But look at David Collins right now. That's a lot of space for him to have all the way back to second in class.
Yeah, that is. That's a pretty big gap right now.
Yeah,
So
he seems to be able to keep himself out of a little bit of trouble on that first lap, and whereas some of the other amateur class drivers seem to be caught up in the thick of it.
And you can tell right now who feels comfortable in the wet and might be pushing maybe a little bit past their limits. We'll see, because we do have a 41-2 from Hepburn right now chasing down Collins. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. Collins' last lap was 41.6. Hepburn was 41.2. Blue 42.2 last lap. So really good numbers if he wants to try and stay out in front of Kenny O'Connor.
You're there, O'Connor shooting the inside. They're going to make a little contact. Yep, and there goes Blue with the door bang. And Blue is off into the runoff. Kenny O'Connor now losing position to, I think O'Connor is coming back to let him by. Maybe not. He did slow down and let Bob Charlton and Ed Walsh through.
Yeah. Not sure.
He's picking it back up now. Maybe just got shook up a little bit.
I think he may have been trying to wait for Blue, but Blue was so far back that he didn't want to continue to just give up positions to wait.
Meanwhile,
Blue's now down back in 16th.
Zolotarov just setting purple lap after purple lap. Obviously, the pace not slowing down yet.
40.6.
He is wasting no time at opening this gap and staying away from anything that can take him out.
Yeah.
This is, we got a gaggle of cars. Looks like, I'm trying to figure out, is that Ruling? No. That's Finlay. It's Finlay, and then
Finlay
just a train of cars.
Yeah, that's where we're focused now. John Butler, Michael Zwanenberg, Nick Paquin. Adam Willey making moves towards the back of the pack, getting around Frank Reynolds.
And that's after a pit lane start with a technical failure on the force feedback system.
Yeah, he started quite a ways back. He was in turn 1 as they were entering about turn 5, so.
Again, looking through the data, we do have some drivers that are picking up the pace. Hepburn just set a 40.8. So right now, the only other car that can even come close to Zolotarov's pace right now is Robert Hepburn, who's sitting in Ford, trying to chase down Dave Collins.
Nick Paquin off track again.
Yeah.
Back that up a little bit. And a spin. A self-made spin this time. As Finlay gets
good on him
on
for
Stevens.
not throwing it. Good for him for not throwing it in reverse into the gaggle of cars that was behind him.
Right. We saw that last week, so. Even Music now setting the fastest lap with a 140.265.
That is quick.
Yes, it is. And Chris Finlay again gets around DJ Stevens. DJ coming back to apply pressure as they start another lap. Let's keep an eye further back to Josh Butler under pressure from Michael Zwanenberg.
Blue just got around Bosworth. He's now back up to 14th.
So of the race start, let's talk race start right now. We had a little bit of shenanigans on the opening lap, and both Corey Hampshire and Tristan Jonadike dove into the pits early to get that mandatory pit stop out of the way. I wonder if they can figure out a little bit, maybe make a little bit better guesses with the tire pressures. I wonder if we could see either one of them run a little bit long and gain some spots and get out of the back half of the field. Last lap for Kyle Hampshire was a 42.7. We haven't seen what Tristan's got in store yet because he's still on his first time lap.
Josh Butler making moves, now running with Alex Martin. We talked about a gaggle. We kind of have it forming up here again. Butler, Martin, your boy Blue, maybe Bosworth going to sneak up there. Another stack of cars running together. Everything else calmed down. Zolotaroff leads us out at this point by 5 seconds as he comes across the line. Had no troubles at all, and then has just continued to open the gap over whoever's been behind him since the start of the race, since that has changed several times due to incidents. Adam Willey making moves.
So wanted to talk about some more statistics while we're watching this race. David Collins right now in the speed trap. Maximum KPH, 246. Could you imagine driving 246 kilometers an hour in the rain?
In the rain.
Right?
Oof.
That is
And that's
just...
gonna be just before turn 1, I'm guessing. So
Yeah.
And then coming into a braking zone.
Yeah. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. I'm really interested also to see where we end up with track limits like we talked before. I'm kind of curious if anyone gets nailed with a DT in these conditions. Because, again, you go offline and you end up off the track, there's almost a 0% chance that you're going to gain time.
Mm-hmm.
So I suspect the only area where you might see someone do something that could result in a track cut violation is probably between turn 8, turn 10.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I just don't see it happening. But we'll see.
No, I think for the most part you're going to see, and again, because of the rain, because of maybe also because of not being as confident with the track, I think, is, you know, especially when we talk about our AM and Pro-Am drivers compared to the pros and silvers. Maybe a lack of confidence, plus you throw the rain in there. Maybe, as you said, the track limits aren't really going to be an issue today because people are going to play it a little calmer. They're not going to try and push outside those limits, right?
I agree. I think caution is going to be the better part of valor here. It is going to be.
No, even if you don't get a time gain, if you get a certain number of warnings, does ACC still provide a drive-through penalty after like
Negative.
X number of? No, it does not. Okay.
It's only,
so as long as they don't gain time.
It's only gain time cuts.
Okay.
And it can be tricky around here in Valencia. Valencia's track limits are very wonky. Like we're watching John Rulon right now. He's got about a whole other car width to the right that he could put the Lambo before ACC would have a problem with that. Meanwhile,
that was just spun there.
I believe that was that David Collins?
Like Bosworth has.
Oh, Bosworth. The meanwhile turn 2, like you even give the left tires even a remote sniff of the white line, and it's like that's a track cut. It's a very very tricky track.
That tight, huh?
Yeah. And like I said, shout out to Revis in the season 6 chat for posting his cheat sheet for Valencia when it comes to track limits. And there is a lot of information on there, and I mean I'm just kind of like happy to see someone putting that kind of time in to figure that sort of thing out. It's going to probably benefit him.
Now, is that the one I saw that Retro edited and said just send it across it like he wrote it in crayon? Is that the one I saw?
Yeah. That's Retro. That's Retro. He's gonna let the back of his hair drive the car.
Yep. Let the hair do the talking and the driving. Your boy Blue getting ahead of Alex Martin back there up into P11 after an earlier incident. So if he can hold on to it, but Blue trying to drag himself back up.
And a drag race with the Lexus down the start-finish straightaway, probably not the area where the M4 is really going to shine. It's really going to be about him trying to, use the grip where he can get it, especially in the more technical sections, because that is the area where the M4 will shine in conjunction or in comparison to the Lexus. And Martin has a really wide exit out of 2, which only sets himself up for potentially losing 2 spots.
Yeah, Adam Willie jumping up there looking to take advantage of this battle. And I have said it before, it's getting to be every race these two find each other. Martin and Willie are just always looking for it.
Hopefully we can get through these corners without bloodshed. Or maybe
Blue running out wide.
Blue ran out real wide, lost control of the car. Alex Martin able to take that spot back. And now...
I thought Willie was going to get him, too.
Yeah, I thought Willie had him as well. I think he kind of backed out of it.
He did.
Yeah, I'm looking through the times right now. A 40.7 last lap for Zoltero. Steven Music had that 40.2, which is still the fastest lap of the race, but haven't really seen that kind of pace since then. So it looks like he might have a little bit of one-lap sunshine in that car, but the rest of it's going to be cold and dreary down in the high 41s. But high 41s, that's pretty consistent for most of the field, so maybe it's not too doom and gloom. Bob Charlton picking up the pace, 40.6 last lap.
Oh, wow.
Ed Walsh, a 40.3. So people are starting to figure out the conditions. This is definitely a race also where I feel like people are going to figure out how the track is supposed to drive in these conditions. It's just a matter of like who's gonna crack the code first and how much time do they have left in the race.
And then can hold on to that consistency once they do, right?
Yep. Because they still have, majority of the field still has a pit stop to pull off. And that's an area where things can go to tears.
Well, speaking of which, and that pit stop, we just got to the 30-minute mark. So again, I'll ask, what are you showing? Are we still showing full wet for the next 30 minutes in game?
I am, yeah.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
Any lighter, any heavier, or is it just staying the same?
Nope, staying consistent for the next 30.
Okay.
The track temperatures come down to 34, so it's come down a touch, but not much.
Wonder how many of the drivers were complaining about the tarmac temperature.
That is your Box 3 weather report. Weather on the 3. All right.
Puff in chat saying, imagine the pro race, no rain. No, I'm hoping it's there. Calm those boys down a little bit.
Variability.
I would like to see some of those changing conditions we were talking about during the pro race.
Yeah.
Variability can really catch people out in ACC. That's one of the things that I really do feel like it has the advantage against other racing sims out there. Just the weather model. The one thing that does bug me a little bit with ACC is the variability, especially for like endurance races and stuff like that, can get cyclical. And then once you kind of like figure out the cycle, you can kind of like plan your stops.
Okay.
Which is kind of crappy, but still one of the best sims in the business and has probably the best weather model in the business.
And we missed out on it, but it looks like Blue getting around Alex Martin.
Yep.
And
Adam Willie as well.
Willie joining him and getting up there. So now Willie going on the attack on Blue. We did see DJ Stevens get around John Ruhlin going way wide, and then deciding, as you said, caution the better part of valor. Stay off the track and let DJ take it versus trying to whip back on and cut him off.
It is one of those races where I feel like maybe don't choose violence.
Shouldn't that be every race though?
Knowing's half the battle. The other half is violence. So sometimes you just can't make an omelet without breaking eggs sometimes.
To quote Retro Coffin, just send it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think he says that. I think the hair says it.
The hair definitely says it. Yeah, he's not in control anymore.
No, it's over.
Yep.
And Bob Charlton taking up P3 over David Collins with that move.
Yeah, that's the locks are definitely doing the talking for retro,
Yep.
100%.
It's like a parasite now. It's taken over, and it speaks for him now.
I like the juxtaposition of his setup during recovery drive, where he's got the Porsche flag in the foreground, but everything in the background, but everything in the foreground just screams like, Leonard Skinner concerts, and like if he's gonna have a car poster, you expect it to be like a Dodge Ram, maybe.
Oh no, I want him to have his dream Porsche in his driveway, and I want him wearing that, just the whole Star Spangled America outfit with the hair and the bandana to go out and get in the Porsche and drive it around. That needs to happen.
Bring it to like an all Porsche meet and just watch the looks from all the guys in loafers and golf shirts.
Right there, Adam Willie making the move and getting around your boy Blue. Will take up P11. Both these guys working their way back up the field right now.
Blue's not making it easy for him to keep it though.
Not at all.
Right there.
Taking a look at some more of the data. Still waiting to see someone make the third pit stop of the afternoon. We're getting close to that halfway mark.
Yeah, I'm curious who heads in first. Now it looks like Ed Walsh closing in on David Collins for P4.
I see Mr. Jake Wells in chat with us. Hope you're doing well, Mr. Jake Wells. Hope to see you in the Pro Silver race. Don't break my heart. I can't take it.
Paddock looking for an on board with Mr. Blue. As Ed Walsh does get around Collins. Now he's going to take up fourth. Collins slipping down to fifth. Real quick, before we go to that on view, I just want to check our position delta for today real fast, just to see where everybody lands. Collins now up 2, Hepburn up 4, Chris Finlay up 5, Josh Butler, his track
8.
guide must have done him well. He is up 8 spots today, so that is great to see. Josh having a great race. And speaking of Blue, go catch up with your boy Blue as he is now being chased down by Adam Willie. So he did get that P11 spot back.
Yeah, Willie had gone off track and
Gotcha.
had to let him by. Yeah.
Landino, welcome in.
Were you scratched for the Pro Silver category there, Landino? People just like crushing my hopes and dreams, not showing up to this race when I think it's going to be a banger.
It is. This one certainly has been so far. I mean, our share of incidents, but not a ton. As we said before the race, I think the runoff has helped with some of this too, right? No one's really popped a wall yet. They've had plenty of room that when they do make a mistake, yeah, you might go wide and off track. You'll maybe driving down the red and white stripes right there, but at least people are able to stay on the track, right? And now the pit stops have begun as both Collins and O'Connor head in.
Yeah, to that point, considering the bit of bumping and banging that happened early, mostly nobody had to go in to go repair any damage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if the two, Corey Hampshire and Tristan Jonendijk, if they went in for that purpose to get their cars a bit more drivable.
It was a pretty hard hit between those two.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of like unfortunate. Like Tristan lost the back end, went perpendicular to the track, and Corey was mid corner, had a car to the inside. Car to the outside probably could have gone a little bit wide, but just stayed the middle. And then by the time it was probably visible to him, he couldn't stop. So, do have 2 pit stops that have just occurred. We've got Kenny O'Connor with 1:11, which is our current quickest, although Dave Collins pumped in 1:12. So, yep, Kenny O'Connor still the fastest. Steve Music goes to the pits.
Goes in the pits. The Collins got a stop and go penalty, probably a speeding in or out.
Ooh, that's
Wow.
big F in chat for Mr. Collins, who was running a fantastic race. And let me tell you, stop go 30 with a trip down the pit lane, that's going to throw him pretty far down.
Mm-hmm. There's Wanenberg in the pits as well now.
With that, gentlemen, I'm going to take a step away.
Yes, sir.
Just because I have a feeling with the delays at the start that we may end up running right smack dab into either the very end of qualifying or the very beginning of the race for Pro and Silver. So I'm going to take a quick opportunity while we roll through the pit stops here, and I will be back with you guys in just a few minutes. Phil, we're going to find a way for you or Matt to remote control my PC so you can just control the software.
You got it. In the
Make life
meantime,
easier at some point.
We'll work that out.
I'm going to give some people some more updates from pit wall. Steven Music currently running our fastest pit stop with a minute 10.053. That's a good time gain for Steven Music. We're still waiting for Bob Charlton and Ivan Zolotarev to hit the pits. We're going to find out who's been practicing doing these pit stops in wet conditions. Dave Collins has already come back into the pits, served the penalty, and left another. Well, actually, haven't seen him leave the pits yet, so he's probably going to leave.
Left yet? No.
He's probably going to leave another minute 10 on the clock.
He's out now.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to lose about a minute and 10 in the pit stops, which is just going to throw him so far down the order.
He's currently running last, behind Jonendijk in Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean he'll get some of those spots back with the pit stops, but it's just that's unfortunate.
But yeah, and especially he was one of the first to get in and out of the pit, so he could have benefited quite a bit because he was running up near the top as well.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I think he was third.
Third? Yeah.
So Walsh will inherit third place from the race, although Walsh, so Zolotarev, Charlton, Walsh, Hepburn, and Finlay still yet to pit. Zolotarev hitting the pits.
He's in now.
Want to give a big update on Zolotarev. Average lap time in the first stint of a 40.865.
Ooh.
Which is very quick. Now let's talk about Steven Music, the person who was in P2 trying to challenge Zolotarev for this race. First stint, 13 laps, 141.592. So Zolotarev in the wet
what,
has
5-second difference.
Has some pace in hand.
Absolutely.
That is 1.5 seconds, I think. Am I doing the math?
It's almost like he's not really like the conditions aren't affecting Zolotarev. He's just kind of ignoring the fact that it's raining.
Well, here's the thing I'm thinking about. His average lap time is 140.8. I'm wondering if he's even pushing. Like, for him to hit a 140.8 average lap time in wet conditions around here, I got to be thinking he's got pace in hand.
You know what? I would bet that he does have some in hand, and why push any harder when you've already got a 10-second gap back to second place? You know, that can only induce one of those being on the limits mistakes.
Yeah, and then turns around and smashes the pit stop time with a 1 minute 7.1. So fastest pit stop of the day right now to Ivan Zolotarev, who seems right now to be unable of making a mistake. I'm hoping that doesn't turn into broadcaster's curse.
I was just going to say, that's the curse right there. You just said the magic words, but I think, like you said, he may even still have some pace in hand, so even if he does make a small mistake, he can probably continue to carry it out. As long as, you know, knock on wood, most people have not had any catastrophic failures even when they've gone off. As we've talked about, there's plenty of runoff area here, so I think, again, just running a conservative pace now is probably his best move going forward.
Yeah, the field is starting to get really spread out. This is going to be kind of the story of the day, folks, in terms of the conditions here at Valencia. You're not going to see a lot of on-track action in a wet race, but what you are going to see is you're going to see a lot of people making mistakes, having those big offs, trying to figure out how to get back on the track and not lose too much time. Hepburn in the pits, average lap time for his first stint was 42.476. So Hepburn, again, one of those drivers really fast in the Porsche, can kind of punch single lap figures that are close to what Zolotarov is putting down. But the big thing is that the consistency difference is just so different. Like we're talking about almost a 2-second difference on average between Zolotarov and Robert Hepburn. Tristan Janudijk, who is trying to recover after some early damage at the start of this race. Corey Hampshire just hanging in his draft. I wonder if these two might just be like trying to gain as many positions as they can.
Just work together to get back up through the field. Yeah, Zolotarov by Hepburn. Music also got by as well.
So pit stop time for Robert Hepburn, 1 minute 10.2, leaving 3 seconds on the table. Adam Willey, 109.252. Bob Charlton's in the pits now. Counter's going up. I suspect we'll see Ed Walsh and Chris Finlay come around. And Ed Walsh.
DJ Stevens still needs to pit as well.
Yeah, Ed Walsh is going to inherit the lead of this race.
What did I miss, guys?
Just pit stops.
Pit stops
are just rolling through.
Bob Charlton heading in now, I see.
Zolotarov just doing everything right. Punches in a 107.1 in the pits. So,
wow.
I mean.
Wow. Yeah, because I know when I was stepping away, the last thing you said was the fastest was a 110. So 107,
and
pretty good there.
That was Steven Music, so that's a 3-second advantage right there in the pits. And also, we had been talking about the average lap times between those front runners as well, and Zolotarov with over a second in hand against the next fastest average first stint. And going longer, too. I think he won an extra 2 laps on that first stint.
Yeah.
17 laps down.
If you can convert that kind of pace, that is such a huge advantage. And we were talking, I think Zolotarov has pace in hand.
He does, and I think he's going to hold on to this. He's back out. Walsh and Finlay both needing to hit the pits, along with DJ Stevens a little bit further back as Michael Zwanenberg jumps up ahead of Kenny O'Connor. Yeah, TV1 camera on this track is just awful.
You know, you could always just switch it into helicam and leave it.
I've been using helicopter cam in the spectator mode. It's been the most consistent.
I mean, and the new feature that I really dig with ACC TV is that if you could turn off everything but helicam, TV1, TV2, and then the TV1,
right.
TV2, you'll still get some really like garbage camera angles, but at least a third of the time on average you should have helicopter cam.
I gotta figure where I go to turn those off.
Oh, are you still able to do the first person, the onboards, while you have that feature enabled?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. The onboards? Yeah, you'd have to actually turn off autopilot and then click the individual and switch to onboard.
So that's an autopilot. That's for an autopilot feature you're speaking towards. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. So ACC TV has in their newest update. If you switch over to the autopilot tab, you can, in the list up at the top, you've got the camera list between set 1, set 2, drivable, helicam, onboard, all that stuff. Yep. You can double click the labels.
Gotcha.
And it will cross them out.
Gotcha. Okay.
The only 2 cameras you cannot cross out are TV1 and TV2.
Okay.
So anywhere you see set cam and a number, you can't shut that off.
Those are
That's the TV1, TV2 auto
Okay.
cams.
That's what I want then, because I love the autopilot feature, but I hate the fact that it's gonna go to camera angles that just do not make sense during autopilot.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, real quick,
Do you
let's
know
take a
what
check
happened
on.
with Alex? Oh, sorry.
I was just saying Robert
I
Hepburn,
was,
Tristan Yonendike catching up, and Corey Hampshire pushing up there too. Ed Walsh, Chris Finlay still out with no pit stop.
And good on them. I mean, they got thrown to the absolute bottom of the field with that lap 2 collision, I think. For them to be recovering to this level, that's pretty big.
Corey Hampshire doing the sneaky inside move on Yonendike right there, and it looks like Alex Martin saying he got disconnected from the server.
that's what happened. I was wondering what
yeah.
happened to him because he just showed up in the pits about 4 laps back, and he'd been mid-pack before the stop. So
Zolotarov showing yellow flag. Doesn't appear to have lost anything though.
Bob
Might have just
Sheldon
been
about
avoiding.
Steven Music as well. I don't know if anybody had noticed that.
Charlton, let's take a look at his pit stop time, because the thing is, Steve Music laid down a 1:10.0, Charlton a 1:09.3, but average lap times a 1:41.1 for Charlton and a 1:41.5 for Steve Music. So there was a little bit of like better performance out of Charlton, and Steven Music's lap times have been pretty stable between first and second stint. So I'm just thinking that a combination of leaving around a second on the table in the pit stops and having a better lap average.
Robert Hepburn spun off now in the paint, trying to get that car oriented as Adam Willey gets around. Tristan Yonendike, Corey Hampshire playing back and forth, but it looks like that's spread out now. Corey Hampshire opened it back up. Poor Hepburn cannot get this.
Yeah, he's having
this
trouble
Porsche
getting back
spun
on
around.
track.
Well, he's on that
in the spray paint.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in the paint, and the problem is with that is like it is the absolute slickest surface.
Yeah.
Probably on this map right now.
A pair of ice skates, and I think you do just fine out there on that. Just fine out there on that wet paint.
Not me, sir. No, sir. No, sir. A couple of ice skates, and somebody's gonna lose a limb, and I'm probably gonna go to hospital with a broken hip.
I was gonna say a couple of ice skates sounds like a couple of tubs of icy hot to me right now.
Chris Finlay heading into the pits, going to allow Zolotarov to jump up into second. Now we just wait to see where Edward Walsh in the McLaren heads in. Keep in mind, folks, we got another race coming up after this, Pro and Silver Class Racing. We will join that in progress. There's about 9 minutes left here. Huff saying there was 6 minutes left, so we should catch that.
Practice, so get some qualifying.
Yeah, we should catch that right mid qualifying, which would be perfect. You guys can go take a break during qualifying and everything. I may go ahead and grab another one just because it's an hour race, and we'll see what happens. But
I'm gonna have to step away. We're gonna go play some mini golf and eat some ice cream with the family.
There you go.
So,
nice.
yeah.
Hepburn and Butler coming together.
Finlay still is showing a pit stop. Did he not meet the minimum requirements?
It does not look like it. He's got 49 seconds on the clock for the pit stop.
That's yeah, I don't know if he didn't meet the qualifications.
Sounds like a no tires.
But also,
if it's that short.
Is it showing it to you guys that he didn't clear the pit stop?
He did
I'm
not
looking
clear
at
the pit
it
stop.
from the spectator mode in game, and it's not showing cleared.
Okay.
He did not clear the pit stop. I don't know if it was a mistake where he forgot to check tires or check fuel. But,
So I know in the Xbox version of this game, when you start the race on wets, if you don't check that you explicitly want tires, it will not give you tires on your pit stop. No, even if you have it set to give you tires in your pit strategy, it automatically unchecks it. So that could be a possibility that he forgot to include the tires in the pit stop.
That is unfortunate, because that is going to be another minute 10 probably on average that he's just going to have to give up, because I'm not entirely sure. I think if you finish the race without the mandatory pits, I think that's a disqualify. But
he is heading in now,
like
so
it'll give you a so he's going to go in to clear it now.
Looks like he's going in now. We'll see if he clears
I think
that.
what it does is, I don't think it disqualifies you. I believe it adds a penalty time, either 30 or 60 seconds.
Yeah.
At the end of the race.
yeah, that really does suck for Chris Finlay, who is really doing quite well this race. If I'm looking at Finlay's lap averages, 42.0 right now, but
Well,
you know
leading
was
the AM class too, so
exactly
that's going to be a tough blow.
Yeah, he was really far ahead in the AM class. He's gonna have to let that lead
Zwannenberg
go
just got
though.
by. Yep, Zwannenberg's through now. He could still pretty easily get up into the second in class. It looks like. It depends if Butler will be able to get around in time. I don't think he will.
Butler right
Oh
now.
boy, Hepburn just shooting up the inside of your boy Blue, making it look easy. Wow. Chris Finlay now back out on track, and ACC TV is showing now a cleared pit stop for him.
It is now. He has cleared it now.
The only person who has yet to pit per the regs is Ed Walsh.
Mm-hmm.
But Finlay getting back out, and looks like he might be ahead of.
He is ahead of. No,
No, he's
Blue. It
not.
looks like got through. Butler.
Oh.
He's back behind Butler now.
Butler, Paquin, we're still getting updates on the data. He might stay out in front of Collins, who got the stop go 30.
He's showing on my screen as being 3 seconds ahead of Collins at the last split.
No. Collins just smoked around him
Just
like he
went
might
by
have been
him, yeah.
sitting still.
Yeah.
Dave Collins going to take up P14.
Now I wonder. You know what I wonder? Did Finlay go in, change tires this time, and end up on slicks?
Perhaps, because he seems like he is driving
His pace is hurting.
really slow.
Yeah. Because he came out well ahead of that. He basically came out between Jonendijk and Willie, and then has subsequently lost about 5 or 6 positions. Now it looks like Frank Reynolds right up behind. Is that Frank Reynolds in the Porsche?
Yes.
So a lap back, or a few laps back it seems, but still carrying tons more pace.
He is.
I think he's on slicks.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. He going back into the pits, third pit stop
In 3 laps. That's that's a race killer there.
That is a race killer, but I mean, it happens to everyone, man.
Yeah.
It happens to everyone.
Josh Butler taking the flyby on your boy Blue. Then Blue opens up for, is that Alex Martin for some reason? And Paquin sneaks right by.
Yeah, so Blue dropping down to 13th with that. Just taking a look right now. So real quick update on the front of the field. So Walsh still has yet to pit after 23 laps. Zolotarev in
Walsh
second.
Running out of time for that pit stop too.
Yeah, he is. He's got
to
have this lap.
On this lap.
He's got to pull the trigger on it. And Charlton 7.5 seconds back. Walsh does not have much time, and he's only got. And here's the thing, gang. He's only got 5.7 seconds, so it's not really benefiting him a lot. Here he goes. He's in the pits.
Yeah.
Looks like Blue is really struggling here. Just gave up a position to
Collins.
David Collins now as well. And I mean, just open the door wide open for him. Now, Collins not in the same class, but still, I wonder if Blue's struggling with tires or what could be holding him up right now.
It seems like it could be a tires issue, but not that he's on slicks. I'm guessing wrong pressures.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna turn on my HUD elements in the car and find out what tires he's on.
Yeah,
because it is starting to look suspicious.
Ooh.
Zolotarov taking back over P1 with Edward Walsh into the pits. And now coming out, Bob Charlton in second, Steven Music in third. Let's see where Walsh hits.
Walsh just came out. I'm trying to see who he's behind. 318 is the car number. So that's John Rulin who's back. 404 and 44. So he's behind Steven Music.
Yep, came out in 4th behind Music, and he's got 17 seconds back to Zwanenberg, so he should be able to hold on to P4 for this. Nick Paquin now making an attack on Josh Butler.
Blues on dry tires.
Oh, and Paquin off into the Toolies as Corey Hampshire gets around Kenny O'Connor. A little bit of action here at the end of this race.
So in terms of pace right now, Collins definitely has the lap average advantage on Nick Paquin.
Corey Hampshire is up in 6th place. So after pitting on lap 1 and running with Tristan Yonendijk, got by Kenny O'Connor and Yonendijk, and now up into 6th.
Here's the thing about Corey, man. Like he's like Kyle Hampshire's little brother, and he is not slow. I think he's just kind of getting to grips with sim racing, and I feel like that kid right there could be quite a talent. We're gonna have to wait and see, but he definitely does have pace.
You called him Kyle earlier in the race.
I know, because I'm still wrapping my heads around it. It's like there's 2 of them. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, Blue is just trying to hang on to as many spots as he can and limp this thing around, because unfortunately the dry tires stop is just costing him time.
To be fair, considering he's been on those dry tires for this whole stint, he hasn't lost that much from where
Finlay's like, nope, I'm going in. Forget it. I'm not even playing this game. Blue just decided to stay out there. So good on him, I guess.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine the kind of fun he's having in that car right now.
I mean, the Blues lap time average before the pit stop was a 44.0, but he got caught in a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. He had quite a bit of battling with Alex Martin and Adam Willey for a little while as well. I think. Oh, that just spun there.
The Bosworth.
Bosworth just spun and Blue got back by him.
Sitting sideways in the track. John
Zolotarev.
Rulin got through as well.
Coming across the line.
And there it is. The race is it. That's it. That was very quick. I wasn't even paying attention, trying to watch these battles. And the Blue show. Bob Charlton coming across in 2nd as we wait for Steven Music to cross that line.
Good result for Bob Charlton.
Yeah,
Zolotarev takes his 2nd win of the season in the
Pro-Am
class.
Paint there.
So I'm just looking through the Pro-Am category right now. So Zolotarev going to extend 147 on Steven Tomazik, who's a scratch this week at 139. Bob Charlton's going to be able to leapfrog Steven Tomazik.
Tristan Yonendijk gets around Kenny O'Connor right at the end. Kenny O'Connor spinning in the last corner. Will end up in P8.
That is a big oof.
Yeah, I was watching it because I saw the yellow and I'm like, you shouldn't be yellowed if it's race over, and it wasn't. So good times. As Robert Hepburn off track, hopefully he can hold on to P10.
Why did Hepburn get a drive-through penalties?
Maybe he actually did get the track
cut. Yeah, it looks like he got a drive-through penalty there. He's not quite finished yet.
Here's the thing, guys. No lie.
He's coming in to serve it at the finish. Now, where's his pit box? Is his pit box after the finish line?
If his pit box is after the finish line, he's just going to get nailed with a time penalty.
Yep, he's just going to get a plus 30 time penalty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The no lie. If this was a dry race, we'd have. I would not be shocked if we have 10 drive-throughs.
Yeah.
Would not be surprised.
Wow. Just a ton of fun in that first one. The rain absolutely changing things up. Yes, Red, moistly.
It is.
Moistly.
Hats off to everybody who participated in this race. It is so tough to race in these conditions around a track like Valencia.
I'm assuming this is the right server. We shall see, I guess.
Yes.
They
Should
don't,
probably switch over to it.
they don't always change the
Double check
names.
your pit link, sir, and make sure that it did the disconnect and reconnect.
It did. It looks like it is up, so
Fantastic.
you should be good to go.
I'm going to see if I can get into the server or not. If not, I might be commentating on the race based purely off of pit wall data.
Oh, this is the one you couldn't find earlier.
Well, I mean, I can't on the other PC. The only Box 3 server I can see is the driver swap server.
Gotcha. Okay.
That is the only one I can see. It is so strange. I've never experienced this before.
By the way, thank you, Brew Hop. We appreciate that. We try to do a good job for you guys.
Absolutely.
We are in qualifying with about 12 minutes left to go here for race 2. Apologies as we have to reset things as we kick off for the next race. Let's get on track.
I'm gonna log out of here. I wish you guys well on the Pro Silver split commentary. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, sir. You're welcome anytime. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Enjoy the race.
You too, man. Thank you. Let's take a look here. John Gray, Brandon Pfeiffer, Terry Driscoll. Oh, clueless. Jace Wright, Lewis Ricard, Justin Seckham, Vatic is back, Drew Burakovsky, Tobias Gable waits in the pits along with Anderson, Coffin, Pixel, Athwal, Christoph Arts, and Jared Skinner. Only 16 total drivers on track for today's Silver and Pro split. But before we do that little step away for a moment during qualifying thing, let's run through this. Silver class, Brandon Pfeiffer continues to lead this one after 3 rounds. He's had 2 podiums, 1 first place finish. He's tied, though, with John Gray in the AMR V8 Vantage, the number 14 car, at 146 points each. Mike Burkhoff in 3rd with 144. Jace Wright right there in 4th with 142. And this is what I was saying. This one's tight, really, all the way through. I don't want to say tight, but all the way through the top 10 are triple digits, right? They're not that far apart. That spread is 30 points total. That's a race. That's one race.
Yeah.
Of somebody not showing up. You know what I mean? So Silver class very tight for this season. And we'll see what Valencia brings with these guys, because I have a feeling we're going to see some interesting racing overall. Sorry, I'm just getting this. The one thing I don't like about ACC TV is that you can't, it doesn't save settings. So you have to set things up the same every time.
Yeah.
It's a little wonky. But I just want to do that quick. Let's take a look at pro standings real fast. Anthony Anderson with his first win of the season last week. Again, much like Mr. Pfeiffer, he's got 2 podiums, but his first win last week at 145 points. Tom Foose in 2nd with 143. Pro class spreads out a little bit after that. Charlie Booth in 3rd with 134 points. And Tobias Gable, Christoph Arts tied for 4th with 130 each. But Dimitri Athwal right there in 6th with 129. And Timothy Glendinning, 127 in 7th. So again, some really big opportunities here for some of these guys, right? To give them an opportunity to really get on and nail down some points. Especially to your point, Phil, it's a newer track, right? One that not everybody's used to. Even the pro guys are not used to it. And it's in the rain. So really get consistent, take your time. Don't be overly slow, but you understand what I mean. By take your time, stay out of trouble, you have a chance to score some points, I think, this race.
It's I think it's going to be a tale of 2 races for some.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the margins are slim, so every point's going to count, and this is a race where you can really make moves.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, too, it's a wet race. Risk too much, might come away with very little reward. So
yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
It is going to get curious. But as I said, I'm going to step away again. Would you, Phil, if you need a break, please take one.
Absolutely not. I'm good, sir. All
right. Well, while we get this going here and our pro drivers start racing, Tobias Gable back in the Audi. Thank you, Tobias, for our other Audi driver in the AMR Pro-Am class that he didn't drive today. The Audi was impossible in the rain, but Tobias saved it for me and brought the Audi out Valencia today. We will see how he does. Anthony Anderson, Retro Coffin, Rick Pixel, Dimitri Athwal, Christoph Arts, and Jarrett Skinner out for qualifying now. And Phil, I will be right back, sir, and we will get ready for this race.
Absolutely. So let's have a quick conversation about the folks that we have involved in this race and kind of like what I'm looking at from SimGrid. I'm going to go through digging through some SimGrid history on some people, so you're about to get doxxed. Just looking through the field right now, if I'm taking a look at the silver category, one person who seems to be a scratch for this week, at least I don't see him. I'm actually going to pull up the race data to see if he is a scratch for Valencia. And I do not see Miko Lepala in the list of official scratches. 3,700 semi-pro in the SimGrid rating. Currently sitting in 5th, 136 points behind Jace Wright's 142, leaving a lot of points on the table for this one. Like, again, it's just one of those deals where, you know, you get to the races, you score the points, you make the moves. But yeah, Miko, really, really good first round. Kind of lackluster second and third rounds, but one of those drivers that I was hoping to see here in Valencia in the wet. Mike Burkhoff has been a pretty consistent Porsche driver this season. I do not see him as well. That is another one that was a bit of a surprise for me. Yeah, I'm just looking through the data just to double check things out, just making sure that I'm understanding who's going to be here and who isn't. Let's go digging through some more of the data. So already, like, I'm going to have to deal with some heartbreak because 2 drivers that I really wanted to see at Valencia aren't here. John Gray is still sitting on top of qualifying with 5 minutes, 58 seconds left with that 140.447. Taking a look at the ACC TV data. And I don't know if the rain has picked up in intensity or what, but people are not meeting those times. Top pro class driver right now, Retro Coffin, still 0.6 off John Gray's time. Let's look in the pro category for some drivers that I really wanted to watch today. Tom Foose also looks like is a scratch. Man, basically, if I was really interested in watching somebody race today, they decided not to show up. But that's just me, I guess. Yeah, Timothy Glendenning, I think, is an official. Did not register for this race, and he's running a 21:55 in a category that's running most of the drivers are over 2.5K. I was really hoping to see Timothy in the Audi, see what he could do. No judgment, Tim. It's just, in particular, like I like to do a little bit of research before the race and try and find some things I really want to kind of like focus on and talk about. And one of the things I was focusing on this week was drivers that are like really strong for their category and how they're doing relative to the field, and drivers that are rated really low by SimGrid standards, but are doing quite well. Like, you are probably the second or third lowest rating in SimGrid, and you are currently 7th in the pro category, which I think it says a lot when you got, it looks like, what is that, 15 that have at least posted results. So More understeer than a boat. I mean, that's tough in the rain like that. It do be tough in the rain like that.
Looks like I am back just in time, sir, ready to kick this 1 hour race off with you.
Yeah, I'm looking through the times right now.
Wow.
I don't know if we had a difference in the weather, but like Anthony Anderson is struggling to get that thing up into P3 right now with a 39.1, whereas John Gray, although why would it say
Why
that?
is it
John Gray had a
showing-
41.1.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
I am very confused right now as to why John Gray has a higher time but is in first place.
I thought Anthony posted a 149, not a 139. So we've got some stuff.
John Gray is way out of order because we're 139s all the way down to P8.
Yep. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ignore ACC TV now, and I'm going to actually. It's even weirder because the actual game still says
that he's in first.
That he's in first. Anderson posted a 39.1. John Gray posted a 39.0. I know what this is.
Okay.
I know what this is. Hold the phone, folks. We understand what happened here. We joined in the middle of their qualifying. His fast lap happened before ACC TV recorded a time.
Oh, gotcha.
So
okay.
He's in first place with a 41, but he set a 39.0
before.
Way prior.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Anyway.
Right. That makes more sense.
But still, the fact that Anderson getting into the low 39 seemed to be a bit of a struggle. I don't know if there's like a change in weather conditions or what, because right now we have 2 silvers ahead of a gaggle of pros going into the start of this race.
I think I am here for it. I think it's fantastic.
But
it's gonna be awesome.
wait, your boy in the R8 is currently purple with 4/10. So Tobias Gable showing up with the 4 rings.
I am not showing purple. I do see he is a 10th up on his fastest.
He lost all of it in Sector 3.
Yeah, he did.
All of it. But if he gets around, he may get one more shot at it. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, all he's got to do is get across the line. He can throw down one more lap. Anderson now showing purple up 3/10, but again, same thing. Just scrubbed all of it off and is now flat.
Yep.
So Anthony's struggling.
He's got a little bit left. He's got a dime in his pocket. Let's see if he can cash. Nope. Never mind. Just dropped it on the floor.
Yep, just left
moment
it
I
over
started
there.
talking, just dropped it on the floor.
I'm sure you'll get blamed for that one too. Don't worry.
That's fine.
Listen, there's plenty of commentator blame to go around.
Here's the thing, Anthony. This one's for you. I don't think there's anything Anthony Anderson can do wrong in this race.
There you go.
The ultimate curse.
The ultimate curse. He definitely will not miss his pit stop.
Tobias Gable had 4/10 and then invalidated.
Oh, that's a shame.
So it really is one of these races where the conditions are going to be tough. It's going to be very tough.
It is going to be tough. Folks, for a little housekeeping before we kick off this race, keep in mind we will not be here next week. No race next Sunday, but that's okay because we're going to come back the week after at Imola with an endurance race, 60 minutes of AM and Pro-Am racing and 90 minutes of Silver and Pro. So please join us for that. Also, keep in mind this week there will be no recovery drive. There will be no retro coffin hair for you to see to get your Thursday night fix this week. We're going to save that for next week when we will come back. We'll talk about Valencia and we will talk about the upcoming Imola race as well during that. So a week off here of broadcasts at Box 3 Motorsports, but stick around because we will be back with more action.
But here's the thing, folks. Don't fret too much that you won't get a little bit of Retro's hair this week. Next week, that mullet, it's going to be a little wilder. It's going to be a little longer in the back, a little wilder.
Yep. I think it gets wilder every week.
Yeah, I think Fife is a scratch for this one as well. I'm looking through.
Look at that, finished out. There's John Gray, Brandon Pfeiffer. Wow.
Oh, no. There's Fife up at the top. My God, I can't. Oh, wow. It is, yep.
Fife just killing it. Hey, something else I always forget to mention too, and I really, really should. You can see there at the top of your screen, Next Level Racing. along with, excuse me, as I take a breather, SimTrack USA providing prizes for this season to the drivers. Haptic feedback system. I want to test this thing so badly. All about how much you drive. The more races you're here for, the more entries you get into that draw, and we will draw that during the last race, at the end of the last race of the season. The league managers are going to tally that last race up quick for me. So that will come on July 16th when we go to Spa Frankenchips, as my boy DT Bubs would say, for an endurance finale. Again, July 16th at 2 p.m. Again, thanks to Next Level Racing and SimTrack USA for their sponsorship of this season. I really want to test that haptic feedback, Bill. I got to admit it. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, I just want to throw it in the seat and, like, just try it.
I mean, I feel like haptic feedback of that nature would be something I'd be more into than the full motion rigs.
Yeah.
Because full motion rigs just seem kind of almost like comical.
Sometimes. I always really want to try one, but...
Right, there is some rain in this session, so watch out for slippery curves.
Oh,
While you're doing the grid walk, sir, and I'm not going to interrupt it this time, I'm going to go get some more coffee.
rock on. Let's go. Speaking of which, today's race grid all set up, ready to go. There he is up front in that number 14 Aston, Mr. John Gray. Brandon Pfeiffer sharing row 1. And the number 22 car, Anthony Anderson, next up. And there is behind him, you see there, Mr. Retro Coffin. You can almost see the hair wrapped around the steering wheel. It's fantastic. Tobias Gable ends up in 5th for this one, bringing pride to the Audi. Going to share that row with Jarrett Skinner. Amazing to me that we have two silver drivers up front. Christoph Arts and Terry Driscoll sharing row 4 with Rick Pixel and Dan, just Dan, in row 5. Another Aston on track. A little more variety here, maybe. Jace Wright in the Lamborghini with Charlie Booth driving the Porsche. Lewis Rickard and Justin Seckham are bringing up row 7. I like the variety. We even have a Bentley in this session, which I think is great. We don't see those. Vatic driving the Bentley today. Dimitri Athwal in another Porsche right there. And Drew Burakovsky will bring up the back of the pack for today's Pro and Silver class race. Welcome to Valencia, ladies and gentlemen. It's raining, Blue. It's raining. Oh, it's raining. The little dude at the beginning even said, there's some rain in this session, so be careful. Thanks for the warning. 1 mandatory pit stop, tires and fuel during the course of this 60-minute race. As we get ready on our formation lap now. What's Ohio? Oh, Ohio. Yeah, that's one of the states you fly over when you're going somewhere important. Never mind. Anthony Anderson, like Phil was saying, Anthony Anderson starting this race off in 3rd behind John Gray, Brandon Pfeiffer, both silver class drivers up there at the tippy top today. Fife has just, I think it was Huff that said it earlier in the chat, that Fife has just continued to improve. His first season, his debut season on ACC PC, raced in Xbox for years, was always fast over there, and now is starting to show his colors here. I think a solid silver. I think he qualified properly for this season. Our league managers do a great job of really putting the people where they belong. It's hard to get away with sandbagging, I think, in our league when it comes to qualifying. But point being is, I think Fife was placed in silver accurately, but I do have a feeling by the end of this season, we're going to see him, or I should say season 7 is going to see him moved up into the pro class for sure. That's not coffee, sir. That's not coffee. That's coffee. I like the Mega Man mug, by the way. That's coffee, but that's also some kind of bar. A little peckish today. Oh, Rick Pixel opting for the pit start to kick off this race.
I need to get a little bit of sugar into my bloodstream, man. You guys don't want a low energy fill, right?
No, not at all. No, I'm watching my screen in front of me, and then you're off to the right hand side, and I look over and I see you take it out. I'm like, that's not coffee. He lied.
I believe car 92's name is pronounced Glee Danballs.
There you go. It's easy. It's not happening. I'm not. No. No.
It is my. I mean, I could be pronouncing it wrong, and if so, you could blame it on my my Southern education. Yeah.
There he is, right there. But we are in double file, ready for the kickoff of this 60 minutes of racing at Valencia.
I'm really interested to see how Fife can get a jump into turn 1 right now. The Aston is pretty strong in the wet.
Green line.
There we go. We are green. The timer is accounting. Anderson looking for moves right away. Going to take it into T1 3 wide if he can get up there. He is looking to push on John Gray. As you said, Pfeiffer just ripping into T1, and he is going to end up in the lead of this. With somebody going way wide. I think that was Retro going off track way wide towards the back. But so far, very clean. Anderson looking to make a sneaky move up the inside of Gray into turn 2.
It is looking pretty clean so far.
Oof. And a little wide on the run there from Gray. Tobias Gable sitting back and just waiting for his opportunity here, I think. As Anthony Anderson takes up P2. But look at this. Look at this, though. Life is not waiting around. He's gone. I
mean, this is the same thing we saw from Zolotarov in the Pro-Am AM race. Like, it is get in the clear air, don't have to deal with the car spinning in front of you if you're in front of everybody. So it is definitely a bit of a John Gray
on the paint.
That is going to be a hard rejoin too, and it looks like Jarrett Skinner going a little drifto.
Terry Driscoll with contact. We've got a car, Drew Barakovsky, off into the paint in the back. Wow. Retro Coffin and Charlie Booth now going to battle. It's a battle of the Porsches. With Vatic right there behind him.
So Anderson now unleashed, trying to chase down Fife in the 22.
Things have way spread out up front. I mean, Tobias Gable up into third, 2 seconds behind Anderson. Anderson over 2 seconds behind Fife, or behind B Fife. And Retro running way wide right there.
Watch the rear end of Pfeiffer Anderson into turn 1. Watch the rear end of their car. Like they are pushing. Like Fife was just a hair close to losing it into turn 1.
Oh wow. Jace Wright taking up P5. Lewis Rickard getting around Charlie Booth. Really, I'm right now really watching the gap between Fife and Anderson. They're definitely got pace right. Whoa, what do we got going on here? Jarrett Skinner off track and dropping very fast. Come on, software. Yep, Jarrett Skinner sideways. Let's back that up real quick and take a look because there was contact. Oh, and that would be why Jarrett Skinner sideways in the track. Dimitri Athwal now dropping very hard. But car number 92, I'm not saying that name. I'm just not. Car number 92 fell off a good bit and now under pressure from the Bentley of Vatic. Oh, and there he goes. Vatic sliding. Wow. Able to get it back under control, but it became a sideways boat for a minute. As number 92 heads into the pits. Retro Coffin getting around Jace Wright. Thought it was going to be the Charlie Booth Retro Coffin show again, but apparently not, as Coffin's made moves to get up into P7. He's got Jace Wright, Lewis Rickard right behind him. Charlie Booth now 3 cars back. The gap between Pfeiffer and Anderson not coming down. But before we got interrupted before, Phil, I was going to say, it looks to me as though both Pfeiffer and Anderson, while keeping their gap about, right around that 2-second mark. Definitely both of them outpacing Tobias Gable. Gable falling back now to 3.6 seconds back. And that was a 2-second gap not long ago.
I think it also could come down to people playing things a little bit conservative right now. So, yeah, I'm just kind of interested to see how long Fife is going to be able to keep up this pace.
Now,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things that is interesting to me about Fife, especially given the comments in chat right now, in the silver category in particular, if I'm looking at Pfeiffer's results, he's got a round 1 P5 finish, a round 2 win, and a round 3 second place finish. Silver category, one of the stronger categories in season 6. We've got complete participation all the way down to P12 up until this round. I think we've got complete participation at least to P11 for this round, including. So Fife has been pretty strong, but so have racers like Mike Burkhoff got the round 1 win. He's got round 4. He's got P4 finishes in round 2, round 3. The part that's going to catch, that's going to possibly push Fife kind of into the lead here of this race, of this category, should he finish in this position, is the fact that he has been showing up consistently, and he hasn't really had a terrible race from a points perspective.
Yeah. And
consistency and showing up definitely seems to make a bit of a difference. Also looking at his SimGrid figures, I mean, he's running a 2546 for his SimGrid rating, which is pretty good for the silver category. I mean, that's basically like the where the average is kind of sitting. It's not the ceiling. The ceiling right now is Miko Lepola, who's a scratch for this week with 3704.
Oh wow. Okay.
But yeah, Fife is really getting the PC, coming to grips with the PC, and I'm loving it.
100%. Anderson now setting the fastest lap, about a 10th faster than Fife's fastest, a little less than a 10th now. And the gap was starting to close up, now back to about 2 seconds. Now, here's the thing, though. Anderson has no reason to chase down Fife. None.
Absolutely.
Zero. The only thing he needs to do is continue to open the gap between himself and Gable. So
correct.
I don't see a reason for Anderson to push overly hard in the rain, chancing a mistake, right? Run your line, do what you got to do. I mean, we see him going a little wide there into the green, hopefully not picking up any kind of penalties or markers, but like there should be zero motivation for him to chase down Fife right now.
Yeah, it is very much the Anthony Anderson can look behind and say, if these guys aren't running faster times than Fife, I can just hang behind Fife, and cruise to a top result, which would be wonderful for Anderson in
Second
pro
week in a row.
category right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. In pro category, there's 2 points between him and Tom Foose, who's a scratch for this week.
Yep.
Charlie Booth is only 11 points back, but Booth stuck in 9th right now.
Yep.
Mr.
Yeah,
D. Collins Racing.
Really...
I'm assuming that's Dave Collins in chat for the first time. If so, hello, sir. That was quite a wild race. You had some really good pace in that before the stop go 30 happened.
Welcome in, Collins.
Ooh.
And right
Justin
there,
second.
Justin's giving up a space to Jace Wright. Turned into a recovery drive.
Hats off to you for not punching out.
Rose Gaming saying y'all forgetting we get the drop around this season. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I don't.
That part,
and personally, I've never understood it. But I've also never understood it.
The drop round, I think a drop round is actually okay for a season. The reason why I think it is, it gives people an opportunity because I mean, if you take into consideration the fact that we're doing, what is it, 7 rounds, we do get Father's Day off, but not every. But I mean, other people have different like family moments and holidays that'll fall in that 2-month window. So having that extra drop round is good for giving people that space, so that
Yeah, I guess
you
so.
can do the real life stuff.
Yeah. No, I see it.
But if there is a drop round in play, that's really good for the standing. The key thing is that the drop round is only going to take into consideration your worst result, which if the do not show is your worst result, that counts. But I mean, I'm looking through pro and silver category right now, and the results are tight enough where if your worst result is did not show, and the person you're chasing's next worst result is a 4th place and you had a 5th place, well, kind of doesn't matter. Like it's just one of those things where it's like the drop round is a good thing, but it is not I've been watching ACC racing. It is not the safety net that people make it out to be.
Yeah.
It's good, but it does not exempt you from when you show up to perform.
And again, with those prizes that we're doing this season, it's all about attendance, right?
Yep.
So the more people show up, the more chance you have. You know, it's going to be one of those things. So
Yeah, it is. I'm looking right now. So Anderson has let that gap grow to about 2.1. Tobias Gable is 5 seconds back from Anderson. So Anderson can kind of like cruise. He's got pace. He had a top pull a drop this weekend, so I can get stuff ready for next week. And that sounds like a smart play. And that's the other thing too. You can make decisions based on how you want to race for your season. Your goal, like everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to do the best that they can, but sometimes the best that you can involves being prepared for the next race to have the better result.
Yeah.
So if you run into a situation where maybe I don't know Valencia that well, it's a wet race, it's going to be tough, I don't want to get into a situation where I generate a lot of penalty points, get hit with a quali ban. Maybe you scratch. Maybe you take a strategic drop and then practice for the next round. And that could be something that is really beneficial to you, and make sure that you have the good season that is your goal for the year. And that's a good thing. People just need to remember this is a hobby. It's supposed to be fun.
Number 92 on board. Let's keep an eye right here for a moment, Steezy. And then once this little battle, we're going to see if Jarrett Skinner can find his way around Retro. We got to stop referring to Retro as Retro. We just need to refer to it as Retro's hair.
Retro's hair?
Yeah, Retro's hair.
The mullet.
We're going to see if Jarrett Skinner can defeat Retro's hair in a head-on-head battle. Does not look like it's going to happen. Let's check in with Christoph Arts and Justin Seckham real quick, and we will get on board with number 92. Christoph Arts, another driver, surprising to see in the Ferrari. I almost got confused for a moment because typically you would see him in a BMW. it's Seckham that's in the BMW this time, so thought I was missing something there for a moment as Burakovsky and Athwal go to battle a little further back for P12.
So it looks like they're wanting on board with car 92.
Number 92. Just came across the line. Couldn't be better.
Let's check in with Dan the man.
I don't think it's raining as hard in this race as it was in the AM and the Pro-Am race.
No.
Like that was a downpour where this is like, yeah, it's wet. They got to be on wets, but it's not a downpour.
Yeah. No. So, watching Dan the man as he's getting set up in Sector 2, about to enter into Curva Nieto. See what he can do. This straightaway is like one of the other like interesting passing opportunities going into Curva Afición. The middle complex of Valencia, very technical, very tricky.
See that? Yeah, a lot of what I would call, driving myself off corners. Right? It's not a straightforward. It's not a straightforward corner. There's something special or different about it that you need to take into account when you're running through.
Then going through, so Campi Herreros into the final corner at Campos is one of the trickier corners on this track. There's a massive bump on the inside of corner entry, which would be the exit of Campi Herreros, which is the penultimate corner. It is can really unsettle a car, like astonishingly unsettle the car. It is like hitting a culvert. It is like hitting a pillar on the ground. So people are definitely in these wet conditions going to have to dodge that really risky area on the inside.
Yeah, one of the track videos I watched, in preparation for today was Unleashed Drivers. I think they do really good videos, and he showed it from the front angle where you could see the car. It lifted the entire front of the car off the track. Like it was just the amount of unsettling happening there was just insane.
That is for the evil Knievels in the field. But I need to send you an onboard of this track. I sent it to Maddie before the race. There is a 2018 AMG driving around here, and that car just sounds amazing.
Oh, wow.
So I need to send that to you because that is a wonderful soundtrack for a car. Man, the field is really packed up here.
Yeah, Charlie Booth leading a pack of Retro Coffin, Jarrett Skinner. If you look up top, that gap between Pfeiffer and Anderson, it was over 3 seconds. Anderson's brought it down a little bit, maybe Fife with a little bit of a slide somewhere. But the gap to Gable now holding steady at about 5 seconds. So very interesting here. I'm like I said, I wonder if Anderson is bothering to chase Fife down at all, or if he's just looking to maintain and stay ahead of Gable at this point, right?
I think he's maintaining.
I think what it comes down to too. I think what it comes down to too. Oh, sorry, is his pit stop. Is he gonna bork the pit stop like he did 2 weeks ago? Right? I don't know.
Justin Seckham got hung out to dry on the entry into Herreros, and lost some spots, dropping down to 11th.
Back that up real quick and look at the slide there. He's hitting paint. Yep, there it is.
So he's lost it, but then he's got this whole gaggle of cars behind him. He's got nowhere to go to get on track, and then we go into, this is Herreros, and just off into the kitty litter. So Steve's the fastest lap right now is a 38.665 from John Gray, who had a tragic start to this race, but apparently has some pace hiding under the hood of that AMR V8.
We'll see if Gray can close the gap to Gable. I haven't been watching that one in particular. What does your data say? Well,
right now, Gray is running a 39.8 and Gable is running a 39.8.
Okay.
I think Tobias has had a few moments on track that have kind of like caught him out. Because his last lap was a 39.6, whereas John Gray pumped in that 38.665 for the fastest lap of the race so far.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it is definitely, looks like we might be hitting a little bit of an inflection point where Gray is starting to catch back up pace-wise with Gable and close this gap down. Man, talking about speed trap figures again for this race in the rain. Again, 2:46, John Gray, top speed trap time. It is wild how fast these cars are going. Majority of the field's doing 2:46. John Gray was the first one to get there. Christoph Art's pumping in a 40.1. Lewis Rickard a 39.5, and Charlie Booth with 39.5. It is. People are starting to find their fast laps.
And again, I wonder what the impact is to the lighter. Well, let me just ask you, Phil, because again, you're the guy with the experience. That's why you're here, and I love talking to you. What is the impact of, like we talked about a little while ago, the Am and Pro-Am race had much heavier rain, downpours. I think we saw a lot more puddling on the track, right?
Yep.
Where this is wet. They're obviously the drivers are on wet tires. What's the impact though of that difference in intensity of rain? If I can ask that question, I guess.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. If you can avoid puddling on the track, you're not going to run into those wild aquaplane moments where there are certain positions of the track that you just can't put the car without risking losing it completely. And the real difference maker in this race between the first race and the second race is this race is going to actually have a reduction in rain. We've got a reduction in rain in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And a subsequent reduction in rain in 30 minutes. So when we hit the first round of pit stops, the track could be going through a bit of a transition. And possibly by the end of this race, we could definitely be seeing a transition because 30 minutes with a decrease in rain, that leaves 9 minutes left in this race.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Very good. Booth and Ricard are just beating each other up back here. Sorry, Rickard.
Looks like Retro Coffin just hiding in the background. Retro Coffin has kind of been all over the field this race. He's kind of been, he's been up, he's been down. Charlie Booth getting defensive into turn 2.
Well, now he has plenty of reason to play that defense, though, with Lewis Rickard and Retro Coffin. Now Jarrett Skinner joins in. Charlie Booth, the last 2 weeks, has been the center of attention in that Porsche.
He has been the center of attention in the Porsche. The thing that kind of surprises me a little bit is Charlie had such good performance at I believe it was at, if I'm remembering correctly, it was at Laguna, second place finish, but a 9th place finish in round 1 and an 8th place finish in round 2. So definitely looking to see if Charlie can button it up and get a good result here at Valencia, get some good points, because right now he's only 11 points back from Tom Foose.
Yeah.
And and if he finishes this race and scores some good points, he will leapfrog Tom Foose because Tom Foose ain't here to score any points. Correct. So it is definitely about extending the gap to Tobias Gable, but he's not going to do that because Tobias Gable is right now running P3 overall. So it is.
Oh, really? It's become a bit of a horse show up front with Brandon Pfeiffer now under pressure from Anderson.
Yep. I think Fife has either made a mistake. Something has happened. Last lap from Fife was a 40.7. Last lap from Anderson was a 40.5.
Okay.
But I think that could have been Fife getting closed down a little bit. Let me actually take a look at. I want to see Fife's times.
And Vatic, it looks like Vatic is out. Vatic in the chat saying his brake pedal decided it did not want to work any longer. As Lewis Rickard heads into the pits. Now, Lewis Rickard, we're talking about this race and how Fife is leading. He's a silver class driver beating out these these pro drivers right now. We just watched before he went into the pits, Lewis Rickard going around Charlie Booth. What's going on today where the silver drivers are passing the pros?
I mean, it could be down to just preparedness. It could be down to the fact that we're starting to experience a little bit of that potential weather transition. I think, if I had to guess, I think it's just Valencia's tough. It's wet conditions. I think people are didn't want to let the fast guys go. I think personally that it could just be down to Tobias is going in the pits. He's going to take the stop early.
Yep. Vatic, if you would want to go back out on track, you are absolutely allowed to come out of the pits as long as your stuff's working. You're good to go to drive. Absolutely, get back in there and feel free to do so. So Gable with a wicked undercut this week, right? 6 minutes more than half the time left, and Anthony Anderson has just passed Brandon B. Pfeiffer and taking up P1 in this race. And yeah, John Gray is now going to catch up because this battle Right now, Fife is going to have to deal with Gray.
Yep. It is game on for Silver Class. This is not decided in any fashion right now. Fife has got a struggle on his hands to keep in front of John Gray, who right now seems to have pace in hand to catch him.
Yeah, having Anderson there as that buffer was, great for him. Gray was going to have to get around Anderson if he was unable to do so. Obviously, it creates that buffer specifically for Fife to run with. And now, look, Fife's still first in class. He doesn't have anything as far as that goes to worry about, but I want to see that. I want to watch this gap back to Gray and see if it grows or shrinks or stays the same and what happens.
Oh, it's shrinking. It's shrinking.
It was
over 2 seconds. Like before you started that sentence, it's now down to 1.7. The gap is dropping quite quickly. And with the train, and here's the thing, the pit stop. We got 15 laps under Anthony Anderson's belt. He's out in front of the field, has yet to pull a pit stop. Tobias Gable went in early. The track is going to be going through some mode of transition. We've got decreased rain in 10 minutes. We've got more decreased rain in 30. I am very interested to see how this all pans out, because Charlie Booth trying to make a move, and a late move from Christoph Arts. I mean, he didn't have a move done on the defend, so he had one in reserve, I think, to hold off Charlie Booth in whatever move he was going to try to make. But Charlie Booth has got, I think Charlie Booth's got Christoph's number right now. But getting the tire choice right for the pit stop, pressures. Probably, I imagine anybody that is pitting right now, I bet Tobias Gable is on wets. It's going to be interesting. It is going to be really interesting. In fact, while we're talking, I'm just going to go ahead and switch over.
And we talked about what was going to happen. John Gray has now completely closed the gap on Fife and is in striking distance. Gray setting the fastest last lap. Looked like Fife trying to clear a back marker here. And I think this is part of where the problem's coming is I think Fife's gotten hung up in traffic a little bit. Right?
But that's the thing, though. Traffic happens for everybody.
Yeah, it does.
So,
no, you're right.
Fife's really got to figure it out. So does John Gray. John Gray had a moment. Did he just dive into the pits?
John Gray just dove into the pits. Yeah, about hit the back end of that back marker and then decided to head for the pits. We're going to break that up for now.
Justin Seckham getting nailed with a drive-through penalty. That is either for a pit speed. Well, actually can be for a pit speed infraction. That's for cutting. So that's unfortunate for Justin, who is pretty at M4. Seems to be struggling out here in the wet. So John Gray in for his pit stop. Justin Seckham hitting the drive-through lane to clear his Joker lap. I want to go take a look. Actually, I want to see Tobias' data in comparison. Where is Tobias at? So last lap from Tobias. It's his out lap. We have not seen his first time lap. We're gonna see what his first time lap is and see if a change in pressures or anything like that might have made it possible for him to. Wait a minute now.
Justin Seckham clearing that penalty, that drive-through.
I think Gray might have made a move.
Uh-oh.
He is pitted. He's got 59 seconds on the clock, and he is not cleared.
Oh.
I wonder if he did not switch tires.
Well, hold on. Oh, no, that was Seckham. Okay, you're talking about Gray. Sorry.
Gray has not switched tires.
Oh, wow.
But so hold that thought for a minute. Could he be thinking that the rain reduction by the end of the race could be getting another pit stop in, switching to dry tires, or
now? But hold on. So you're seeing 30 minutes out. You're seeing rain reduction, correct?
Yep.
You're not seeing rain stoppage.
Yep. Rain reduction in 10 and rain reduction again in 30.
Okay, but not rain stop.
Not rain stop. So I think wet tires are going to be the call. Fife is struggling with the rear end of this Lambo right now. You know what it could be with Fife? I wonder if he's got his wets overpressured, and he's just kind of creeped into that the space where those things are starting to turn into tomatoes, and it's starting to get hard to keep the rear end pinned down in some of these corners. Because if you think about it, look at it right now. 1.7 seconds lost to Anderson. John Gray, not a threat for him now. John Gray back in the pits.
Yep, back into the pit stop. So obviously it was a forgetful thing, not a strategy thing.
Here's the thing. F's in chat for John Gray, who had a tragic first lap, but was looking to make such a solid recovery and really take the fight to B5. Massive F's in chat for the 14. That's a shame. And
really that's the second time we've seen that happen today now.
That is the second time we've seen that happen. Brandon Pfeiffer into the pits. How are you enjoying this race so far, sir?
Myself, I think this is fantastic. I think the start of this race was the best start we've had all season. To see Fife jump out there, right? To see Gray attacking Anderson, right? And Anderson doing everything he could, finally catches up, right? Gets on the back end of Fife. Fife making mistakes, whatever it was. I think the first half of this race has just been awesome so far. And now a lot of drivers, Jace Wright, Charlie Booth, all into the pits. That puts Christoph Arts and Jarrett Skinner up front. Skinner and Arts battling it out. Now Skinner getting around him just like that. Let's jump back a little bit.
Skinner's somebody that I have yet to see really show his skill level, in my opinion, in the current category and pro category. I feel like he is a very strong driver, especially in the 296, but has had some inconsistencies and some incidents on track that have kind of like cost him from having a pretty good result. So I'm kind of interested to see what Skinner can do in these wet conditions. Currently 21.9 back from Anthony Anderson, but seems to be pulling away from Christoph Arts at a pretty good clip. So John Gray cycling out in what looks like P15, which puts him next to last in silver category.
Jace Wright letting the back end go just enough to let Justin Seckham get around.
Ooh.
Saw just enough of a shimmy to slow him down coming out of that corner.
Yeah, and now so we've got Burakovsky now in the lead of the silver category, although he has yet to hit. Then Seckham, Jace Wright, and then you got B5, the 22. 4 seconds back from Jace Wright.
Lewis Rickard able to get around Retro Coffin. Let's see if he can hold on to it, though. Like Terry Driscoll and Dimitri Athwal battling a little further back for P13. Valencia in the rain. Picking with Driscoll and Athwal back here. Christoph Arts and Jace Wright now both into the pits. I'm gonna clear those stops. Drew Burakovsky up into third. Justin Seckham still there. And Fife needing to get around all of them. We'll see. Without Anderson having gone in. So what does your timing say, Phil, in regards to Fife? Where's Fife going to land once all the pit stops are cleared? We talk about Anderson, which Anderson now heading into the pits.
I think Fife's pretty solidly going to stay out in front of the rest of the silver category. I think if I had to wager on the pro category, I think he's gonna come out in front of Tobias as well. Like, I don't suspect that Fife is going to lose that much time relative to Tobias. 107.1 was the pit stop for B5. Tobias Gable was a 107.1, so they're pretty much consistently with one another. in terms of pit stops. It looks like Jace Wright also had a bit of the mistake, because I'm seeing a second pit stop for Jace Wright, which is just a bummer. That's just a bummer for the guys that don't catch that. Ando's in the pits right now.
Keeping an eye on Anderson in the pits simply because we're going to have to go catch up with Justin Second and Fife here in a moment. But just trying to see where he's going to dump out in relation to Fife. Looks like he's even going to stay ahead of Second. Second's still needing a pit stop. So, once again, if I'm Pfeiffer right now, I am not concerned about whether or not I pass Justin Second. He
No.
needs the pit stop. I don't need to race you. We're good.
Yeah, and the other thing is he came out not that far really behind Ando. So Fife, if he's still wanting to kind of like make a statement and put a silver class driver ahead of a pro, still time for that to happen. Because the thing is that and I don't know if the folks at home are kind of getting this from like watching the race, but it definitely seems like it definitely seems like this is all about making sure that you're getting your strategy correct on your pit stops and being the best driver that you can be, not necessarily the best driver relative to everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, beat yourself. Like, be better than you normally are, and you'll do fine. Try to be better than everyone else, and we've seen how that doesn't work out. So it's just one of those things where consistency seems to be the word of the day.
Yep. Burakovsky into the pits now, as Fife decides, I'm going to go ahead and chase down Second. I don't care if he's been in the pits or not. It's on like Donkey Kong. Let's go get it. So
Yeah,
pushing hard at this point.
Yep. Tobias Gable, last lap was a 39. What was Fife's last lap? Just kind of curious. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, last lap was 39.8. B5 was a 40.8. So,
Okay.
although
Gable
Fife
with
just has,
opportunity to close it down.
yeah, Fife just has nobody around him that's gonna like catch him in these conditions.
Well, if I'm Fife, I'm probably getting frustrated right now saying, listen, I don't want to pass you. I will if I have to, but seriously, just go in the pits, Justin. I just need you to go in the pits, please. Because he's got pace on him. He caught him hard. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking if I'm in Fife's brain right now, that's what I'm hearing. He's like, dude, will you please just go in the pits so I don't have to do this? You know what I mean? I don't want to do this in the rain. Mazzino in chat right there, yeah. When wet tires are on, it doesn't check them by default, and I didn't see a reason to continue the race after 2 pit stops.
I mean,
So.
I can kind of understand that. I mean, it is frustrating for sure. But the big thing is that I'm looking right now, and there are so many people that have lost upwards of like minutes on the clock in terms of like making mistakes on track. So there's and when you're looking at the field that's this tight. Although actually, I don't know. So Mazzino might be John Gray. I'm not sure.
John's sitting in the pits, yeah. So.
Yeah,
Possibly.
they can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm just looking at the standings right now, it's pretty tight. Oh, you're Jace Wright?
Jace Wright.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, Jace. I mean, the thing there is that even if there is a drop round involved, and I'm not saying that there is. Just looking at silver category right now, you're 2 points back from Mike Burkhoff, who did not show.
Yep.
So. I mean,
ooh, and Retro Coffin. What's going on here with Coffin? Let's back that up real quick. Something bad happened to the hair. Off into the paint once again. We saw what happens to Porsches on this paint.
Yeah.
Looks like Retro's hair didn't deal with it too poorly. Dimitri Athwal heading into the pits again for some reason. Fife ending up getting around Justin Seckham. We were watching it but didn't call it out. Seckham still not having gone into the pits. So
yeah. But I mean, I'm just looking at the field right now, and And finishing this race and just getting points, period, can make like a huge difference because Mike Burkhoff's not here. Nico Lepola's not here.
Yeah.
Rob Kisar's not here. Matt Comiskey's not here. That is a lot of people that are not going to get any points for this round.
It is a thin week on track.
It is a thin week, but for the folks that showed up, it is mover and shaker week.
Wow, Christoph Art's under intense pressure from Charlie Booth.
Yeah.
Booth really pushing, looking for that spot. Wow. And as Huff just said in the chat, you have to finish 5 races to be prize eligible. Just to be eligible to win the prizes this season, you have to finish 5 races.
And I'm watching Christoph Arts and Charlie Booth going at it right now, and it is a street fight.
100%. It is a scrap.
You love it. You love the track limits at turn 1. You love that? You like that? It's like just get it in the region. Like can you land it in the time zone? It counts.
Like Dimitri Athwal yellow flagged out, might have got a little slowed down. Brandon Pfeiffer unable to close that gap up to Anthony Anderson, not even sure that he would want to. Although right now he was running about 0.3 faster than his best. And Anderson down about 0.4 right now. So we'll wait and see. Maybe we'll see where that gap goes. 4 seconds right now. Again, if I'm Fife, I'm not worried about it. I'm first in class. I got Justin second behind me. He still has to pit. He's under pressure from Tobias Gable right now, if we catch up with that one. And so, again, if I'm Justin, just go to TG, or I'll just, you know what? Tell you what, I'll go into the pits.
Yeah. The real quick for Steez, like no judgment. Real life comes first, man, and enjoy yourself. This is supposed to be a hobby. I'm just saying in general, like even if you have a bad race this week, this is the one you finish because it's got like
so many people missing, and like I'm just like looking at the field right now, and I'm like looking at the standings and just seeing how the places should shift from this week to next week. Christoph Art's losing a little bit of ground to Charlie. Got Retro Coffin now to keep company. So Seckham now into the pits, the last driver to make a pit stop. Why every time I look at chat is Blue causing problems? I think we should force Blue to race both races just so he can't be in chat causing problems.
Could do that. You could also just go over here and right click his name and just like
I could just ban him. Ban you're my blue. I could time him out too. I could time him out. We could delete all his messages. Look, I'm just gonna. Oh, I deleted Blue Wolf's message by mistake because it jumped up just as I clicked it. So Blue Wolf, you're fine. Don't worry about it. I'm watching Christoph Arts right now get just absolutely chased down by Retro Coffin.
Blue Wolf, just remember, don't put that one in my Yelp review.
Yeah, don't put that in.
That goes in Molson's.
100% on me. Nope, it jumped up just as I clicked it. Watch this. Here we go. There you go. Blue's timed out for 600 seconds. That's 5 minutes. He's not allowed to talk now. That was just for fun, though. I love you, Blue. And right now, I'm thinking Christoph Arts is not enjoying Retro Coffin.
Nope. Moving offline, trying to break the draft. He's going to probably swing out wide before corner entry. Yep, there's the fade starting.
Even Steezy in the chat says, yay, that Blue can't talk for 600 seconds. I didn't think it was for that long. I thought it was for 60 seconds, so.
Let me, well, I mean, you said 5 minutes, but I'm pretty sure 60 times 10 is 600.
Oh, yeah, that's 10 minutes.
So
that's
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
So,
you're right.
yeah, it's okay. Okay, the math also, don't put that in my Yelp review.
No.
That goes in Molson.
It's 10 minutes, sorry. Oh, that's funny. Blue, I know you're out there listening. You're a good dude. Don't you worry about it. You'll be back before the end of the race, and we'll get to hear from you. I should just drag him in a VC in here with us if he was in a VC so we can hear about his race.
Absolutely. I would love to hear from Blue. Would love it. Would love it. Would love to get the latest installment of what is going on in the world of YCR this week.
Right? Seems like those guys are everywhere.
They are. To be honest, I'm pretty sure it's like at this point it's got enough drivers in it to like have like a population rivaling a Caribbean island at this point.
But here's what I want to know is, what is a yit cow? Was it supposed to be yeet? Was it supposed to be yeet? And Blue just misspelled it?
You know, if he did, that would be an instance of trying to be clever and not being clever.
Right?
Because most people don't intentionally misspell names in a way where people are like, was it supposed to be yeet?
Right?
Like,
Retro Coffin making the move on Arts, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, what? That was quite a pass.
It was.
And
nice and
Christoph
clean,
is
too.
not letting him go. Jared Skinner is not far off.
Fife getting under 2 seconds on Anderson once in a while here, too.
I'm wondering if Anthony's just holding back a little bit of pace. Of course, from P9 back, the field is just starting to stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of that has to do with, again, Aaron Turner. I recognize that commentator. Aaron Turner, how are you doing, sir? It's been a minute.
That's the great and powerful Phil Milwee right there.
I hope you're doing well, sir. Christoph. The race between these two is phenomenal because, like, Retro got the pass done. Turn 1 looked clinical in execution. And Christoph's not letting him go.
No.
Christoph's like...
And this battle's letting Skinner pull up, too. Right? So...
Yep.
Arts may have something else to deal with here very soon, within a few laps.
Yep. And I'm watching these corner exits out of the last corner, which is probably the... This a new league? No, this is season 6 of Box3 Motorsports.
Is this a new league?
Aaron's new here.
No,
he did say first time chat. But season 6, the new era. We're in round 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show.
A fantastic show. Aaron, if you're looking for a league, come join us.
Absolutely. It's a fun place to be. Christoph losing a little bit of pace now, and he's going to be falling into the clutches of Jared Skinner if he does not pay attention.
Looks like it's going to happen.
Chris Finlay jumping in chat after race number 1 saying he's really disappointed for the pit stop. Here's the thing, man. It happens to everybody. The key takeaway is had really good pace relative to the field in Pro-Am, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about technical mistakes when it comes to strategy, it's an easy fix. You come up with a ritual. It's like, oh, I'm in a wet race. I have to check my tires. It's like if you open the MFD, if you touch fuel, if you look at damage, if you look at anything, you look at that box where there's a check mark for tires or not. That just becomes your ritual. That's an easy fix. So if you button that up and take away the fact that you had good pace in Pro-Am or relative to Pro-Am, that's a pretty good week for you.
Keeping eyeballs up front, B5 now within about 1 second of Anthony Anderson as Driscoll and Burakowski come together, and we are sideways on the track. Looks like Burakowski got out of it, but Terry Driscoll sitting sideways, finally getting moving again. Now Christoph Arts, to your point earlier, now having to deal with Skinner. So Arts having some trouble here towards the last quarter of this race.
Oh, and then they touch. But they keep going straight.
Whoa.
Arts right there was I mean, that looked legal, but it was approaching a little naughty in terms of like, I'm going to start doing the fade and I'm just going to fade to the middle of the track.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like it is legal. It is a legal way to defend. It is flirting with being cheeky.
Jarrett Skinner's looking to flirt with P7 right now if he can get around Christoph Arts. You know, talking to Finlay in the chat, what I found interesting, we kind of talked about it during that race, was the difference in strategy, right?
Yep.
Blue did the same thing. The now banned or the now timed out Blue did the same thing. Said, I'm just going to stay out. I'm not going back into the pits to change these tires. I am simply staying out here. Where Finlay said, oh, Lordy Lou, I better go back into the pits. You know what I mean? So just curious how that works out and how different people make that decision, I guess.
Let me tell you, Christoph Arts is not giving Jarrett Skinner any favors right now. No. It is like I don't know what the math is. Somebody's gonna have to bust out a calculator. But what's a 296 times 2? Because that looks like what Christoph Arts is driving right now.
Yeah.
It looks like double the width, like big wide O 296, trying to find his way around. D5's down to 1.3 from Anderson. Closest fight right now we're watching, Skinner.
Skinner now backed off just a tad, around that 1 second mark.
And here's the thing, man. Like, if Skinner can just nail an exit, because I'm looking at Arts right now. Although here's the thing, in the wet conditions, it's not necessarily the same when you have like a scuffed exit, because everybody's running like conservative throttle maps and high TC, so it could be that there's a lot of interference for Skinner on corner exit. But Arts is like tail wagging through a good chunk of these low speed corners.
Well, and this is where we saw a lot of the passes today that we caught up with. Was all it took was a little bit of that, to your point, that tail wag, right? And it slows you down just enough as Arts goes flying over. Did you see Arts hit the bump? Arts caught the bump. That little bit of that tail wag was all it took to let somebody come through, right? Because they've had to back off just enough to make sure they didn't lose the hole and spin themselves backwards. Retro Coffin trying to catch up on the back end of Charlie Booth up here too. We'll keep an eye on that Porsche battle.
Well, the now timed out in chat from my boy did send me a DM to explain to me where Yit Cows comes from. Yit is short for Wyatt, who is the owner of Yit Cows Racing.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
And very cleverly put, not a misspelling of a random word that people use on the internet. We're throwing it into the corner.
And I told Blue I love him in the season 6 chat, so he knows he got timed out for fun, not because he was bad. Charlie Bruce and Retro Coffin. This is how many weeks in a row are we going to watch these two?
Good question.
I think it's going to keep happening all season, and I am here for it.
Yeah. Who's got top hockey hair? So it's fine. The thing I'll say for Blue, who's timed out in chat right now, you got to look at it like this: when one door closes, another one opens. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity.
Yeah, we're seeing that, Steezy. You're right, Fife. He's bringing it down. Been keeping an eye up there for the last 15 minutes, waiting to see it. He's hovered around that 1 second gap mark now for a good number of laps, waiting to see if he can get up there. Oh, there you go. Your boy Blue is free from purgatory and back in chat.
So, one thing I'm going to say real quick, and this is something for the folks that are following the Ando Fife battle up at the front. There has been a bit of a sea change with the little decrease in rain that we've seen during this race. Lap time averages for Anderson, first stint was 39.7. Second stint, 39.4. However, B5, 39.9 first stint. This stint, 39.3.
Oh, wow.
So Fife has found something in that Lambo to make it go a little bit quicker, and that's now down to 0.8 of a second, although it just bumped back up to about 1 second, so I wonder if Fife had a bit of a moment.
I like how dead last in chat, I'm pretty sure, was the same one that said yay when I timed blue out. And then when blue came back, said yay again. I want to see if Fife is going to close this gap, because now I think coming into the end of this race, if I'm Anderson, there's a point of pride here, isn't there? Isn't there a point of pride here? You don't want a lower class driver, and I don't say lower class as if they're bad. It's it's a classification system.
A no class driver.
Yeah, like, do you want a silver driver passing you when you're a pro driver, right?
Here's the thing: people can say what they want. The mathematics don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
He can let Fife beat him by. He can let Fife beat him by 8 seconds, and it would still be a good race for Anthony Anderson, because 100%. He would still finish second ahead of Tobias Gable, and that is the only time difference that matters right now. Period.
It is. I just wonder when those emotions kick in, right?
I mean, if I'm both of them just have a bit of a moment.
I see that. Wow.
That is an adventure.
Anderson a little bit less than Fife, so that gap now opened back up to 2 seconds.
I wonder if Anderson's driving a little bit in the rear view mirror. Jared Skinner, half second back. Christoph Arts still. Charlie Boo still holding 7/10 on retro coffin. For who has the fastest hair in the 992.
Ooh, and Skinner tightening it up there on Arts. Just a skosh. Christoph Art's very consistent, though. We haven't seen a lot of that rear end shimmy out of him during the course of this race as we've watched him battle people.
Maybe he's figured it out. Maybe he's got it nailed down. Mm-hmm. Could be a change in traction control settings. Could be a change in throttle map. Could be the fact that we were getting a little bit less rain. It's been consistently slowing down the rain, but track is still wet. Like, wet tires still the optimal. Blue. Still the optimal.
What is the pink clock looking emblem next to gray? That means he has the fastest lap of the race at a 1:38.330. And Christoph Arts just barely holding on as they go side by side. Arts going deep, and he's on the paint. Ooh. Door banging. The door banging is happening. Jarrett Skinner giving him a little nudge to let him know, I am a coming through.
Yeah, Jared Skinner is not one to goof off. Both him and Mike Burkhoff, they're kind of that style of racer. Like, I don't care what class you're in, you want around me, you're gonna pass me.
Yeah.
Look at him going sequence. Look at that. That was like sequence drifting between two Ferraris.
I'm saying.
Anthony Anderson has some back marker traffic he's about to catch, and Fife is 6/10 back.
Yeah, Fife has closed that gap again. We saw it open up to about 2 seconds a little earlier when they both had a bit of a spin into a corner.
I believe he's catching Driscoll. Now, see that right there, that might catch Fife out in a bad way. That corner exit in turn 2, that right there might have been a track cut. Because that is one of those corners that is heavily policed. It's right there with him.
He is now locking it down on the back of Anthony Anderson. On board with B. Fife. Let's do it.
Minute 34 left in this race. I am pretty sure they're going to get one more lap out of this big slide on corner entry for Anthony Anderson. Driscoll gets out of the way.
Charlie Booth, Retro Coffin fighting back for P5 right now. We're going to stick right here. The battle for the lead, Anthony Anderson and Brandon Pfeiffer. Best part is when we do recovery drive, these guys are usually both there. And we have just started the final lap. Let's go.
Pfeiffer's got the slipstream.
Oh,
He's showing him the nose.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anderson
but look at
way out over
Ando.
the paint.
Oh, wow. This is good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Fife is just applying the pressure.
It's like but he is right on the edge too. Fife running him down hard. At least Anderson can say he earned it today. That's for sure.
Yeah. All down to the corner exit here. Taking a very conservative line.
Yeah, he did. Tighten that right.
That's all he needs to do.
Mm-hmm. And there it is. Anthony Anderson for the second week in a row finishes in P1. Brandon Pfeiffer right there behind him, though. Your next pro racer in this league, almost guaranteed. Tobias Gable crosses the line in third. A great race from him, as Lewis Rickard will look to finish out in fourth today.
Second in the silver class. So silver class really
really pushed it up today.
Yeah, real top performers in silver class.
Mm-hmm. Charlie Booth, Retro Coffin coming across right behind him.
Yep.
Jarrett Skinner, Christoph Arts.
We can definitely take a moment to remind Retro at the next recovery drive that Charlie Booth does in fact have faster hair.
Yes. Yep. For now.
Yep.
For now. Yep. Christoph Arts yellow flagged right now. There we go. Okay. Christoph able to make it across as the number 92 car. Dan the Man finishes this out. And finishing third in class. We'll take a podium today.
The driver who is all class, finishing third in class.
All class, and yeah.
Justin Seckham coming across with a fourth place finish in AM, and Drew Burakovsky in the Fuchsia competition Lamborghini.
Finishing out. That is it, folks. Look at that, Phil. That was a great race.
That was a great race.
I think we had a lot of action all the way to the end of that, and it made it a lot of fun.
Shades of the 24 Hours of Le Mans there in terms of the wet weather conditions causing for some zany moments on track. I was pretty happy to see that.
Absolutely. That was fantastic. Great way to go into a week off.
Yep.
Again, folks, keep in mind, we are not here next week. We are off for Father's Day in the U.S., so to all the dads out there, have a great weekend. A happy Father's Day. There will be no recovery drive this week on Thursday. No race next Sunday, but we come back for recovery drive. What's the date on that? Just so I can. So we're going to come back on the 22nd of June for the next episode of Recovery Drive. And then we return on June 25th for an Imola endurance race. 60-minute AM and Pro Am, and a 90-minute Pro and Silver race on the 25th of June. But Phil, thank you so much today, man. It was fantastic.
It was a lot of fun.
Always a lot of fun with you, sir.
Yep.
Have yourself a great weekend. I have to work one more week, and then I'm on vacation the week of the 19th, so I just can't wait. I need it.
So that's how the other half lives.
That's how it lives. Yeah, I get to take my first week off of the year, so.
Yeah.
But thanks,
right.
Phil. Thank you to you. Thanks to Matt, who had to take off. He had family stuff to do going. I think he said some mini golf, so good for him. But thanks to him for joining us for the first race today. And folks, again, we'll be back for Recovery Drive next week. So join us then. Have yourselves a great week and a great weekend. For Box3 Motorsports, I'm Adam. That's Phil over there. Phil Milwee, the man, the myth, the legend. And we will see you guys very, very soon.
Hi, Dylan Dunn from Tiffin, Ohio, fighting out of fly kickbox and fighting for my grandfather. Support your fighters, make a difference, and donate today. Come watch us fight June 14th at Mission Ballroom.